And I got...
Oh, I forgot about that. We're going to do that?
Yeah, we got to do that.
Okay. Are you going to toast yours?
No, I'm not going to toast them. I don't
I
like
have
them
to
toasted.
toast mine.
I like mine raw.
Oh, yeah.
Like
He's a
right
raw
out
dog.
of
Straight raw dog. All right, so here we are, episode 14, I think. 14.
Episode 14, everyone. I can't even believe we made it this far. Like, that's 14 weeks, right?
You would think that by now there would have been a petition for us to stop.
I know, right? People are like, that's enough.
Yeah. No mas. No mas.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Trading Places, one of my favorite movies. And Eddie Murphy goes, y'all want me to break something else? And they go, no. It's like, y'all want us to do another episode? No.
People love the abuse, apparently. So
they do. Well, you know, it was a good day today. It was a very busy day. I painted these masks that I'm doing for a new Sony film, and Sony got the pictures and they love it. So that's always a good thing. You know, when a giant corporate studio sees something you did and they say, yay, we love it. So I had a win today. That's good.
Chris was kind of goofing on me about my tasting videos, and he was like, we should do one of those together. Like, you know, yeah. I wasn't goofing. It was more jealousy. It was like, you're eating all this great stuff I want to try.
It was. I was jealous. I was like, wait a minute. Why aren't we doing that on our show? You're eating all these tasty Halloween treats, and I'm like sitting over here going, what the fuck? I mean, I know I'm on a diet. I know I'm trying to lose weight. I know, but I can indulge in some tasty Halloween treats.
You didn't do so good Saturday night diet.
Saturday night. I was over at Sean's Saturday night for his birthday, and I ate everything. It was my cheat day, so I ate it all. I ate everything.
You pretty much hit a reset button on that diet after that.
I really did. I really did.
So one of the things we were talking about is I told him I had just bought these, what are they, chocolate pretzel flavored Pop-Tarts?
Say, would you like a chocolate covered pretzel?
You tell me, man.
I got the box. Let me get them. So what we're going to try is the new limited edition. I don't know if it's limited edition. It's new. Pretzel chocolate Pop-Tarts, sweet and salty. Look at that.
I like a sweet and salty business.
If I remember correctly, you're a big pretzel fan.
I do like a chocolate covered pretzel. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It didn't smell great to me when I opened it. What do you think?
It smells mapley, almost like a waffle, like a smoky waffle. It's got kind of a pretzel-y, kind of baked pretzel-y kind of finish to it. You look at that. It's also got the sprinkled salt on there, like a pretzel. Cosmetically, the Pop-Tart is appealing. And I like it. I approve of this design. So I'm going to go ahead and eat a corn.
Right, mine's a little hot still because I toasted mine. Go for it, though. Let's see.
Why I do it wrong. So I'm having it. I got to have another one here.
Really does have a pretzel taste.
It does. I could taste the salt. Not as sweet as I thought it would be. It's not bad. It's not overpowering like most Pop-Tarts. I love Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, me too.
My favorite is the strawberry with the icing. I mean, that's the shit.
That's the go-to.
That's the go-to.
That's mine.
And I do like a strawberry without icing too, but I prefer the icing. But this is not overpowering. It's not overly sweet. We're like, oh my God. I get the salt. I get a little bit of, could use a little bit more sweetness.
It's the chocolate is a little light. Like it needs a little more chocolate kick to it.
It does. But it's not bad.
I'm actually kind of digging it. I am
too. This actually may very well be my new favorite Pop-Tart.
I might get this again.
Can you only get this around this time, or is it a year-round thing?
It just says new. It didn't say limited edition, so I'm sure it's probably As long as it sells, they'll keep making it.
This is really good. I'm just going to sit here and eat this for the next hour. Well, that's kind of also one of my get off my lawn things.
I got some good ones. Go ahead.
I have one that I thought of, but this is another one. I hate watching people eat.
You know what? Me too, which is why we should finish these so we're not making people watch us eat.
Yeah. I hate watching people eat. It's so gross. I find it so disgusting.
Look, Chris.
No, you got to make noises. It's the noises that drive me crazy. Yeah, that shit drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. My other get off my lawn is I watch a lot of movies on like HBO, Showtime, Stars, you know, all that stuff. I have my Dish TV, whatever it is you call it. I don't know what they're calling it now. I just call it cable, but it's not cable. It's satellite. Anyway, I have a huge get off my lawn thing. What is the deal? It's particular. I'm going to aim it at Stars, the Stars network. You're watching a movie. The movie ends. They roll credits, and they shrink the credits. They shrink that down into a little box over here and show a promo for one of their shitty series that you don't watch or care about, and it lasts for half the credits. Drives me insane. Here's a company that makes their money off of showing movies. For fuck's sake, have the respect to show the credits of all the hardworking people, which is part of the movie. To me, the credits are part of the movie. I always watch the credits. I always want to see who did what. It's a learning experience. It's educational. You see all this stuff. And then you're just like, man, fuck the people that worked on it. They're over here. Here's our new show that you're not going to watch because it fucking sucks. And like, it drives me mad. Drives me mad. Like, you're disrespecting the movies that you're showing, that you're making money off of. It drives me crazy.
And I'm going to add to that, because I feel the exact same way. And it also bothers me the way Netflix does the credits, where they're literally flash, 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 flash. It's impossible to actually read them if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then even worse than them is when you watch a movie, like say they're showing A Christmas Story on TNT or something. They do that shrink down thing. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, they speed it so it goes super. You can't read it. What's the point?
Right. Don't even have it then.
Yeah.
But have the credits. People want to see the credits. It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
Even if you don't watch it, even if you're talking about the movie as the credits are rolling, it's still part of the experience. The credits are there and you can watch them or not. It drives me crazy. Have respect. Have respect for the film. Have respect for the people that worked on it and worked really hard to bring you that movie and that happiness. Damn it. Makes me angry. Meh. Get off my lawn.
I agree.
You have more. You said you have more.
Oh, I've got a whole list, but I do. But I save them. I break one out an episode. So this is my latest one. Since I was putting out some of the pumpkins and stuff, their decorations. What is the fucking deal with on any electronic or like a pumpkin thing? When for the battery cover, who's the genius that came up with the idea that you need to put a tiny little screw in there too?
Oh yeah.
Why can't you just have a click thing that? Oh, why do we need this screw that is the world's smallest screw that you need to have a tiny little person's fucking screwdriver to? Yeah. I mean,
I'm with you. That spills my marbles. The other day I was like unscrewing 5 screws on because I decorated. My the front of my house is crazy right now. It's so awesome. I'm very happy. It was the best Halloween decoration year yet, by the way, for me.
He's crushing it.
I'm crushing it. I'm killing it.
This right here. Look. This is an item I'll be see, I took it out already. Yeah. But it why? It has a thing where you pull it down to open it. Why do I need a screw, you know? Yeah. Walmart, $18. This is badass. Look at it. Lights up.
It is
How
pretty
dope
cool.
Is that? Flickers?
Yeah.
$18. I'm going to get like 20 more of these and put them all over my backyard. They're badass.
It should be like on your remote control on your TV. We just slide it down and open it up.
Yeah.
What's with the little tiny screws?
Since we're talking about stuff, I've gotten some new stuff. One thing about this show has really brought me a realization is that I buy a lot of stuff.
Really? It took this show for you to realize that?
Well, once a week when I'm bringing a stack of stuff, I go, Jesus Christ, I buy a lot of stuff, don't I?
Dude, how many times have I said that on this show? I'm like,
I know, but I thought it was just like
shopping every day.
I was just like, I mean, all right. Well, anyway,
you bought more stuff. Let's see it.
I did buy more stuff. I picked up, as I needed another copy of Halloween.
Of course.
I got the new Steelbook. It's pretty cool. So I can get the light on it. There we are.
Yeah.
The Steelbook. I haven't opened it yet. It's Best Buy exclusive. But you know what? It's only $19.99. So I was actually surprised it was kind of cheap. Yeah. And it has that documentary with B and Jamie on it. So I got to have the, got to have it.
Got to have that.
Got to have
it. I didn't buy that. I have too many copies of Halloween. I don't need any more. I'm good.
Well, I was trying to get to 50, so that's the 50th copy.
Really?
Just kidding.
Jesus.
Got this from Scream Factory. Terror in the Aisles.
Sure.
Just came out. Terror in the Aisles. And
that was a movie. That's one movie I was very excited to see when it came out.
Yeah.
And went and saw it and was terribly disappointed.
Yeah. Well, same with Coming Soon. Remember that as well?
Yeah.
They were both just clips from movies I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was disappointed. But it's one of those things that you kind of have to have it, though.
You got to have it.
And then they sent me the Steelbook, the new Steelbook of Motel Hell.
Oh, I just watched that the other night.
Great movie.
Love that movie. So fucking weird, that movie.
Yeah. So thank you to Scream Factory for that. And then
Scream Factory for sending me that as well. I appreciate it. Oh, wait. I didn't get that.
That's right. You didn't. Because you called them Lame Factory, and they remember that.
That was a joke.
So, yeah, we had a little birthday barbecue shindig at my house on Saturday, and my buddy Darren got me this cool screen-accurate Overlook Hotel room key.
Lovely.
He also got me this, but he walked in my office and saw I already had it. So,
I'll take it.
We gave it to my friend Lawton because he didn't have it. And then he also gave me the Trick or Treat Studios knife, but he customized it to make it look awesome because if you've seen them, they look like chrome, like a mirror. They look terrible. No offense, but they just look ridiculously too chrome. So he weathered it and did it all custom for me.
Nice.
So probably have Nick sign that bad boy and hang it on the wall.
Of course.
And then
vitamin water, by the way, if you want to sponsor us. I'm a big fan of the vitamin water.
Oh, by the way, tonight's episode is sponsored by Johnson's & Johnson's baby powder. Sure, they took it off the market. Sure, it caused cancer, but boy, it makes the boys feel good. Johnson's & Johnson's.
You.
Speaking of which, I'm really disappointed nobody sent me any bulk powder to try.
Because you bought it all. What are you talking about? You posted a pic. You on our show. You posted a picture of a drawer filled with powder. Why would anyone send you that?
But because I need to find an alternative. That shit's gonna run out. So I need suggestions here. I need to try the monkey butt. I need to try all that stuff.
Get the Gold Bond.
I tried Gold Bond. I didn't dig Gold Bond. It was a little too cool.
I'm not going to get into this conversation. I'm not going to talk about ball powder.
Again, feel free to send cool ball cream. So
send Sean ball powder.
Friend Chris Nelson got me these for my birthday. Look at this.
Look at that.
The prints. I mean, if he was a real friend, he would have got me the real ones. But, these will do.
For $12,000.
Well,
if I was a real friend, I'd have spent
If you wanted it to be a real special birthday.
Don't think I didn't think about it.
You would have won that.
Don't think I didn't think about it.
And Sarah Rose at Sugarmint gave me this as a gift, which was a print of
I didn't get that.
No, you didn't get one of those. Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated.
You're welcome, my friend. You're welcome. I know they're not the original. I know I didn't spend $12,000 on them. But if I was going to spend $12,000 on things, I'm keeping them.
I picked up this Tones on Tail Record Store Day exclusive reissue of Pop. a very, very, very good album. And I know your lady would agree with me on that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's a huge Tones on Tail fan. Huge.
And picked up the new Manson album, which is really good. His last album wasn't bad, but my favorite album is Mechanical Animals, when he was trying to channel Bowie. This is more in that direction. I really like this record. I was surprised. Yeah, did you get anything, Chris?
I did. I got a gift. Besides from one of our viewers, a friend of mine, W. Earl Brown, who is an actor. You might know him from Deadwood and Something About Mary, Franks and Beans, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He knows I'm a huge Joe Strummer fan, and he knows I have a Joe Strummer Telecaster. So he gave me this poster. Hold on, I'm going to get it. I'm a big combat rock fan, but yeah, I'm a big Joe Strummer fan. So thank you, Earl. That was awesome. We got some gifts from our friends.
Greetings, Sean. W. Frickenstein here, pronounced Stein. Okay, Frickenstein. Just like Frankenstein. And yes, that's my real name. Okay. You recently read a comment of mine on your show and said that my YouTube handle, The Everscathed, sounded like it could be an emo band name, LOL. Well, you were half right. The Everscathed is my band, but we are actually a three-piece death metal band hailing from Chicago. I really enjoyed you guys discussing your favorite bass players on an earlier episode, as I handle the upside-down left-handed bass duties and vocals. He said vocals. He did a little pun there.
See what he did
in the
there.
band.
See what he did there.
Have a horrific theme along with skulls and props on stage, and we opened almost every concert over the last 2 decades with the original creepy intro from the old Tales from the Dark Side TV show. I've enclosed some free shit for both of you and Chris to check out. Not sure if death metal is your guys' thing, but the next time you're in a pissed off mood or having a get off my lawn type of day, I urge you to give us a spin. We tend to have a good crossover audience, as we've performed tons of festivals and many other types of bands, and the feedback we regularly get from people is, I don't usually like death metal, but you guys rock. Woo. If it's not your cup of tea, feel free to pass our tunes on to someone who might dig it. Keep up the continued excellent work, guys. The show keeps getting bigger and better. I look forward to what's to come. Hails and cheers, W. Frickenstein, The Everscathed, Chicago. And yeah, we got patches and stickers and a magnet,
CDs, patches. Look at that.
And I have not listened to it yet, but I am going to.
I like the patch. That's a good.
Yeah, the patch is really cool. Patch, did you happen to listen to Blood Opera?
I haven't listened to it.
I did listen.
Did you? And how was Blood Opera?
Okay, so
you wouldn't bring it up if you didn't like it.
I didn't hate it. It kind of had like a Lizzie Borden vibe to it, like 80s Lizzie Borden, which was a band I really liked. Don't think they're as good as Lizzie Borden, but it had that sort of vibe to it. At least some of the songs had a little different thing going on, but the first one I heard, I think it was called Fanboy, was the first one I listened to. I think might have been my favorite, and it sounded very 80s metal. It's fun. I appreciate it, you know.
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it well, you made it sound a little more appealing than what I would imagine. So thank you. I'm going to give it a shot. Trust me, I'll get around to it. I will listen to it.
And this is the next one we got. Sean and Christopher, how are you? Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time. But look at this letter. Look at it. But I want to make sure to mention how big of a fan I am. Ever since I stumbled across a Halloween 25 Years of Terror DVD at Metro Detroit Airport in 2006, I've been a full-blown Clarko-phile. Ooh, I've never heard that term.
That's a new one.
As for Christopher, I honestly cannot say enough about my respect and admiration for that man. From his work in film and television, it's obvious that he has incomparable talent, though he is also sickeningly humble, so he's probably going to disagree with everything I just said. But it doesn't make it any less true. Just look at all the incredible projects in his filmography. Anyway, I really been enjoying the podcast so far. It's become the highlight of my week during these crazy times, so I really appreciate you two setting aside the time to do it. For fans like myself, it really does mean a lot. Anyway, enough of the sappy stuff. Let's talk about the free shit.
That was awfully nice so far. My heart is filled with warmth at the moment. So continue.
I thought he carried on about you too long, but that's all right. The mini tombstone and jack-o'-lantern are for Sean. I debated a little bit on what design I wanted to carve for you. It was between H1, H2, and H6, but I ended up going with the latter since it matches the statue you just bought from Spirit. Then the t-shirt and mug is for Christopher. When I saw those items at the store, I thought of him immediately, so I hope he'll enjoy them. I also enclosed a small gift for Nay that she can add to her American Psycho collection. I hope this stuff will bring even just a fraction of joy that I feel watching your show every week. Anyway, I hope you're both well and cannot wait for the next episode. Sincerely, Brandon. Let's show our gifts off first. I think there you are, shirt and a mug.
This is awesome. This Jack Skellington mug is awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that.
He carved me a Halloween 6 pumpkin. He also sent the little light. I'll put that sucker in there.
Oh.
Let's see.
Thank you. I love Universal Monsters. You know me well, sir. You know me well. Thank you. I will wear this shirt with pride. I love it.
How cool is that?
Look at that. That's super cool. That goes right there.
I'll put it there for today.
That's going right there. And I got my, this is what I'm going to drink my coffee from now on.
And he sent me one of these.
I know. I saw that. That's so cool.
Which I almost bought at Spirit, but now I'm glad I didn't because he sent me one. So thank you. P.S. A quick question for Christopher. What scene is that Myers mask from that's behind you? Just kidding. I'm sure it's cringe-inducing every time a fan asks that, though I suppose it just means that you did your job in capturing the look of the original, since people are still engaging in spirited debates about that mask more than 40 years later. Oh, so he really doesn't have a question. He just had a funny. He was just throwing in a funny. Well, thank you so much, Brandon.
You're absolutely right, Brandon, in everything that you just said. You're 100% dead on.
I see you sneaking some Pop-Tart while we're talking.
I did. I'm eating the Pop-Tart. That thing will be gone in the next 5 minutes.
So we got questions. First question is from David and Abby's Movie Massacre. They said, for all, that means both of us, where is your getaway spot? You know, in case you didn't know. Where's your getaway spot? You know, to get away from everyday world. Could be a vacation spot or just a spot you like to sit back, relax, and not think about a damn thing.
I read a lot of books. Books are my getaway spot. If I were going to go to a physical place, like a location to get away, I have 2 places that I like. I like Joshua Tree out in the desert here in California. My other favorite vacation, like complete getaway, cut off from the entire world, was Bora Bora. I love Bora Bora. It's everything that you think paradise should and could be. Your imagination of what paradise is Bora Bora. I highly recommend, if you can afford it, go to Bora Bora. You'll never want to go anywhere else. It's amazing.
For me, mine is my house. Yeah, I've been stuck here for several months now because of COVID, but I'm not bored of it. I love my girlfriend to death, but she just left this morning to visit her family in New York, and I have the house to myself for 2 weeks. And to me, that's paradise. I'm an only child. Both of my parents worked. I was alone all the time. So I feel very comfortable and at peace being by myself.
Yeah,
so
I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same way.
My other getaway is I'm a very incredibly way over nostalgic person. And I like to go to my old neighborhood that I grew up in and just have lunch. Most of the places I grew up with are gone now, but there was a place my mom used to go to called the Mad Greek. There's still one in Baker. If you drive to Vegas, you always pass Baker, and they have their world famous strawberry shakes.
Been there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there used to be one on Beach Boulevard in Stanton. My mom used to always go there, and I hated it because their big thing was gyros. You know, and I still to this day don't like those. But the place was nostalgic to me because I used to go there all the time. And they brought back one of my favorite fast food restaurants from the 80s called Noggles, which I did a video with Adam the Woo where we went to Noggles. It's on his channel, not mine. But we went to that one. They've turned the Mad Greek into a Noggles. So I get it's a total retro thing. I'll go there, just have lunch by myself and kind of kick around the old neighborhood. I don't know why. Just
it's comforting.
Grasping that feeling of when I was a kid. I don't know. Because it's a shitty area and nothing's the same. And another place I like to go is Disneyland. Since I have an annual pass and I live 20 minutes from it, I would just go on a weeknight, like at 9 p.m. and go to the park, ride the mansion, grab something from the Bengal barbecue or something, just chill, you know. It just, you know, the atmosphere is cool and it makes me feel good. But haven't been able to do that in about a year. You know, something that crossed my mind today, dude, it's been over a year since I was on the set of Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I was just thinking that. I was like, oh, wow, that was about a year ago. And then I looked on my phone to see when I took the pictures. I'm like, holy shit, that was the end of September.
We were shooting it a year ago today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got home from shooting Halloween Kills on November 4th. We shot September, October of last year.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a while. There's a joint in my area down the street at the end of the street called Halloween Town, which is actually owned by Wayne Toth, who is a special effects makeup guy who did Rob Zombie's Halloween. He's done all of Rob Zombie's movies, effects makeup wise. Anyway, him and his wife own this place called Halloween Town. I'm a huge fan of that place, and it's very comforting. Even if I don't buy anything, I'll just hang out there, and it's just very peaceful and comforting, and I love that.
Great atmosphere. Well, it's almost like its own little mini haunted mansion, but it's
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. It's got that vibe, yeah.
Ken Coakley said, Neighbors is available on Blu-ray from Mill Creek as part of their VHS packaging titles. I have a copy and saw it in the theater in 1981, same year I saw Nighthawks at the same theater here in Massachusetts. We had two pay TV services called Staircase and Preview. I've never heard of either. I had Staircase. On that, I saw My Bloody Valentine, Friday 13th, Terror Train, Knows You're Alone, Prom Night, and a whole lot more. And then someone else said, I appreciate the shout out for Neighbors, absolutely underrated gem with so many quotable lines of dialogue. Great book, too, which the film adheres very closely. Have you read the book?
I haven't read the book. I'd love to read the book.
It deserves a better reputation and better edition. The Blu-ray's bare bones.
I love that movie. Love it. And you know that John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd were actually supposed to have played opposite parts.
Yeah.
In that movie.
And to be honest with you, had they done that at the time, I think it would have been a hit.
You think so?
Because I think so many people went into that wanting crazy Belushi, and they got
right.
this version they never had seen before, and it disappointed people.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that because Aykroyd had more of a reputation. I mean, as funny and crazy as Aykroyd is and was, I'm a huge Dan Aykroyd fan. Based off of like Trading Places, he was that straight-laced, you know, tight-assed, tie-wearing guy, and that was the stereotype that he could have and should have played. But I like the movie the way it is. I think it's great.
Mixie Horror and Pop Culture said, as always, gentlemen, another terrific episode. Thank you. Matthew Lillard is an awesome guest. Chris, on the subject of the Burbs, this is also my go-to movie. Joe Dante's Matinee is great, too.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And he also pointed out that a few years ago, Neighbors was released on DVD. However, it might be out of print. So now we need to seek out that Blu-ray they're talking about, because I need to own Neighbors.
Yeah, Neighbors is amazing. Yes, I agree with the Burbs. I love the Burbs. I just watched it again.
I only seen Matinee once. It didn't do much for me the first time. I may have to give it another try.
It's aged well. Like once you kind of get in the zone, once you've celebrated Joe Dante's entire catalog, you know, and the Burbs and stuff, you go back and watch Matinee. It's not a bad film. I like Matinee a lot. I think it's really cool. It's got a cool vibe.
Blair Williamson says, my boyfriend Tommy loves your podcast. He watches it while he's working at home during these dark times.
Dark times.
Since watching it, he's also got me hooked. I love learning about horror and stuff, and think you and Chris are funny. My boyfriend loves horror movies and collects horror things and is a record collector as well. He loves Nirvana and the Melvins. Our apartment is Halloween all year round. You guys collect NECA and Mezco horror toys. We are looking forward to more episodes.
Thank you for that. That was really So that's a nice comment. Thank you.
You collect any NECA or Mezco?
I have them. I have both. As far as like collecting all of their brands, no. But I have a lot of NECA stuff. Yeah.
I have lots of NECA and Mezco stuff as well. I don't buy everything. I've kind of tried to stop buying that stuff unless it's something that I just have to have. Like I had to get that Halloween 3, the 3 trick-or-treaters box thing that came out. I was just like, never in my life did I think there was going to be action figures for Halloween 3. I had to have them. So
I'm the same way.
So I did get those.
Yeah, I have to wait until I absolutely have to have it. Like I have to look at it and go, "Oh, I gotta have that." I just don't get it.
Like when the 2018 Myers came out and your head was in it, you're like, "Oh, I need that."
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, "I'm a toy accessory." Wee. It's amazing.
Did you get both sizes, the big one and the little?
I did. I got both sizes.
You gotta have it. I thought we might want to give our significant others a little plug for their businesses. I saw your lady just launched her thing. If you want to give it a little shout out, little plug, we can put a little graphic on here and tell people about it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, my significant other, Stephanie, has launched her own little business. It's called Eternal Craft. Her website is www.eternalcraft.org. And it's all like handmade, one-of-a-kind, semi-precious beads and one like vintage heirloom type thing weaved into it. And these long, beautiful beads all have meaning. And she has different series and different colors. And she just launched that. So I'm very proud of her. And they're really pretty. So go check it out. Buy one for your girl, or if you're a girl, buy one for yourself. They're really cute. One of a kind.
If you can see, I have one of Nay's Myers houses right here. You can see.
I need one of those. Got to get one of those.
We have 2, and you see Nick sign the back. Nick Castle, the shape.
Sure.
I have, before she left town, she finished 2 that I have ready to go. If anybody wishes to purchase one, I can actually ship it out to you while she's gone. It's already ready to go. They're $500 already signed by Nick, then plus shipping. So if anybody's interested in that, you can shoot me a message or put a comment, or I don't know.
I've seen them in person. They're really well done and really awesome. I actually want one, so you're going to want one of those. They're actually really cool. So
I'm taking one of those, probably that one actually. That very one is going to the Sugar Mint Gallery. So
oh, nice.
I'm going to drop that off this weekend, but I have 2 others finished, ready to go.
If you want to get a hold of us, if you want to get a hold of me, you can private message me on Instagram. That's the best way to do it. I'm not on Facebook or Twitter or anything else, so hit me up on Instagram. Try to answer.
Ken 13. I love the show and all the fantastic guests you guys have had on so far. Always look forward to every new episode and video Sean does. Pumped about the Scream ranking episode with Spencer Charnas. Curious to know your thoughts on Ice Nine Kills music, and what are your favorite lesser known horror movies? Mine are Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Oh, coincidence. And Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Love to see Norman Reedus, Greg Nicotero, and Kane Hodder on the show at some point. Keep being yourselves and stay safe. Yes, the episode you're about to watch is a ranking episode of the Scream franchise with lead singer of Ice Nine Kills, Spencer Charnas. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, and I think Chris will say the same. Neither of us were very familiar with the band. I have listened to them, and I like what I heard. He actually said he was going to send us some stuff, so I was going to really delve into it when I got it. But I will say I did not dislike them. You know, I'm into the horror thing, and I'm into heavy music, so I'm definitely looking forward to checking out and celebrating their entire catalog.
Yes. Well, Sean said it best. I can't talk.
The moth flying around you. Look at him. See him?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. I haven't dove into that. I will. I'm going to. I'm sorry. I've been very busy, and I'm so picky. And
yeah, it's some videotapes to return. So, and as far as your guest suggestions, I mean, those are all definitely possibilities.
Yeah.
We know.
I know Greg very well. So,
yeah. We know all those guys.
Might be able to talk them into doing it.
That Halloween movie collector said, Chris and Sean, have you ever seen Student Bodies, the original slasher spoof of mostly Halloween? Yes, I have.
Yes, I have. Saw it when it came out. Saw it in the theater.
Same here. It's really corny as fuck. I mean, It's not as good as Airplane, but it's on that level of just ridiculous nonsense.
Yeah.
But great one sheet though. Great poster.
Good poster.
Yeah.
Good poster. Wasn't a big fan of the movie.
Ian Repash says, such an honor to be watching this every week from the start. Respect the hell out of you guys.
Oh.
Thank you, Ian.
Wow. Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
Frank Riker says, Sean and Chris, love the show as always, and thanks for answering my ridiculous questions. Here's another. What fictional house would you like to own? I would love to own the 1959 house on Haunted Hill, which would actually be the was it the Bradbury house? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's what it's called. It's a Frank Lloyd Wright. It's up near the Griffith Observatory. And it was also used in Blade Runner,
right? So,
as Decker's house.
Well, that's the Bradbury building.
That's the Bradbury building. Okay, that's where I'm mixing up the Blade Runner connection. Yeah, it's a Frank Lloyd Wright house. It has a name though. It's called the.
It does. I don't know what it is.
The Enos house. Is that it?
The Anus.
Enos. E-N-N-I.
Anus.
Now I got to look it up.
The Anus house.
Enos, I think.
Anus is what you're saying.
I don't know why that popped in my head.
So you're saying anus. What fictional house? The first thing that comes to my mind, I would love to own the Psycho house.
I was right. It's the Enos house. E-N-N-I-S.
Right. Okay.
I was right. Holy shit. Psycho house. Dude, the Psycho house ain't a real house.
That's what he's saying, fictional house.
Well, I think he means like you want to own the shell that's on the back lot? I mean, I think he's talking.
If it was a real house, a fictional house, if it was real, that's what he's asking. I would own the Psycho house.
Okay. See, I'm thinking in my head, a house from a movie that you could really own. So I was gonna go I looked into one point buying the Amityville house in Long Island, the real one.
Right.
I wanted that house.
I don't think that's what he meant, but yeah.
Okay. But
that's a good one.
If it's just,
I would buy that one. Sure.
It's just a fictional house.
What fictional house would you?
I would go with something like the mansion from The Haunting or something. You know, like the original Haunting, the black and white one.
Or the Munsters house.
Yeah, but that'd be cool. Only if the stair opened and all that, though.
Right.
Yeah. Old Omen Road says, hey guys, I love the show. How about some horror rock celebrities? Jerry Only, maybe? Well, how about Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills? That's a horror rock celebrity. Boom. You ask and you receive. Boom.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, we are actually going to have more horror rock guests, kind of doing this ranking franchise things with musicians. So obviously horror and music, there will be a clash, but not the kind of clash Chris would like, because Joe Strummer's dead. Record Exchange said, love the show, guys. My question is for Chris. I've always loved the look of the werewolf in the movie Bad Moon, and was wondering if Chris could talk about working on that movie.
I can't talk about that. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. Worked for Steve Johnson's XFX on that movie. Eric Red, I believe, directed it. It was cool. I did most of my work on that movie was in the shop. I did go to set for a few days. We shot it in Vancouver, Canada. I helped build the werewolf. And then there's a scene where a guy, he's like a forest worker or something. I don't know. He's got a helmet on. And he's standing by a tree, and the werewolf comes down from the tree and bites with its jaws, bites through the helmet into his head and blood and everything. I built that whole gag, which was a helmet made out of wax, which I had to mold this helmet, make it out of wax, and this head with the blood and everything. So it comes down, crunches, and meh. So I did that gag and helped with the werewolf, and it was fun. That movie keeps popping up in my life lately. So suddenly people are discovering it, or fans are hitting me up all over the place about Bad Moon, which is strange because we used to call it Bad Movie. Mm-hmm. That was the joke. So, but yeah, I'm glad people are watching it and digging it.
I think people are rediscovering it because Scream Factory did a special edition Blu-ray, which I did all the bonus features for, actually.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's getting some new life.
There you go.
Do you remember who played the werewolf?
It was...
Played Jason.
Wasn't Vince Hammond, was it?
Played Jason. He was a Jason.
Really?
Yeah. Come on.
Who was it?
Ken Kersinger.
I don't remember that. Yeah. No.
He did.
Yes, Ken Kersinger played the werewolf.
Ken.
That's what I said, Ken.
Okay. I thought you said Kane Kersinger. That'd be
Ken. Ken Kersinger.
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger played the werewolf.
Kevin Reynolds said, Sean and Chris, where do you stand on Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio? Unpopular opinion, but I think Heaven and Hell is one of the best Sabbath albums. I think that's a great album. I love Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
Ozzy is always going to be Black Sabbath to me, but I love the Dio stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm with you. I like that album. It's a good album. I mean, I was just listening to Black Sabbath Volume 4 today, which I love. I like the Dio Black Sabbath. It's just different. It's just it's apples and oranges, man.
Which are both tasty fruits.
Exactly.
By the way, I just want to throw it out there because there was so many positive comments regarding Matthew Lillard. People just loved him. And we're talking about what a just down-to-earth, great guy he seems like. So lots of love for Matthew Lillard, big time. And this next question/comment reminded me of that. Boogeyman Ben.
Boogeyman Ben. That's all I got.
Okay. I have a whole song, but you like to sing it.
I want to hear the whole song. Go ahead.
This was so fantastic. I have always respected Matthew, but now I have even more respect for the man. I had no idea he was treated that way by the powers that be in Hollywood after the Scooby-Doo films. So glad he was able to overcome that obstacle. The guy is super talented. It would be awesome if he ends up being in Scream 5. Sean, question for you. I've always wanted to ask if interviewing Margaret Smith, owner of the Blankenship home in Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, was uncomfortable. She seemed to not be too keen on having a horror film shot there and mentioned that it took a handful of Touched by an Angel episodes to cleanse the house. Thank you for what you guys do. The podcast is something I truly appreciate and look forward to each week. Really means a lot. Well, thank you. She was super sweet. I mean, she let me in her house and let us interview her and film inside her house. But she did say that she did not know that it was going to be a horror film when they rented out their home to them, and were a little put off by that. Although the weird thing is she kept the Blankenship house sign, and they have it hanging in their kitchen, which pretty cool prop. And for somebody who doesn't care about the movie, it's big. It's a big sign. Logan Dumont. Love the show, guys. Would you consider doing a ranking of the Elm Street movies and John Carpenter's filmography? I think doing John Carpenter's filmography at some point would be fun. Ranking those.
Yeah, I'm down for that. 100%.
I wouldn't have to do much research. We wouldn't have to rewatch
Oh
stuff.
God, no! I know those movies so hardcore. I just watched Christine the other night for the 100th time. Yeah, I'm down for that. Let's do.
I know
that.
I may need to rewatch Ghosts of Mars and The Ward. I don't know.
The Ward, I've never seen The Ward.
Well, now you have to watch. So you can't rank if you haven't seen all the movies.
I saw 10 minutes of it. Does that count?
You have to see the whole thing. Yeah.
All right.
Thought you celebrated his whole catalog. What's up with you?
I celebrate his catalog up until a certain point.
As far as the Elm Street movies, that one is actually planned and will be coming up in the near future. Ribkram. Hi, Sean and Chris. Love the podcast. I've even got the wife watching. Hey, lady. I know what a big Kiss fan you are, but do you like Alice Cooper? I've been a fan since '86, and I think it would be interesting to hear him chat all things horror. I think you'd be a great guest if you could get him. Hope you had a great 50th, Sean. I would say it's the new 40, but with 2020, I think it may even out at 50. Much love from the UK.
All right, son.
I don't know Alice. Met him a few times. Super nice guy. But I don't know him, so...
I do like Alice Cooper. I like early Alice Cooper, like, mid-70s.
What's weird about Alice Cooper is there's a lot of songs I love, Like, I have probably a dozen or so of his songs in some of my playlists, but he doesn't have like an album I love.
No.
I don't.
No, he's never, I can't say, well, I can't say he's one of those guys where he has the quintessential album where every song was amazing and it all came together in this cohesive moment in time where it was perfect. It's always like a song here, a song there, a song there. But
puts on a hell of a show. I saw him live. Thought he was great. Tommy Midland. Hello from Minneapolis. Love and completely agree with Chris's comment about Happy Halloween decor horseshit. I also hate harvest decorations over Halloween decor. Pisses me off. Any of you guys into any of the grunge bands from the 90s? Nirvana, Melvin, Soundgarden, Mudhoney, Alice in Chains, etc. All right, so real quick get off my lawn that has to do with this. So I went to Hobby Lobby the other day just to see what Halloween stuff they had. They don't have any Halloween stuff.
I couldn't go to Hobby Lobby. They're Christians. They're hardcore Christians and gay bashers.
Yeah, but I didn't realize they didn't carry Halloween stuff. So I went in there and I'm walking around. I'm like, where are they at? And I came up to a manager and I said, where's your Halloween section? They go, oh, we don't have one. I go, you don't have Halloween section? Like, I'm looking at her like she's fucking crazy. I'm looking like she's got two heads on her shoulders. Like
it's too evil for them. It's too evil for them.
And she just kind of went, yeah, we don't. And I'm like, wow. I'm just like, I'm going to Michael's.
Damn
Fuck
right.
Hobby Lobby. Fuck Hobby Lobby.
Fuck that. I'm going to Joanne Fabrics. The 90s thing, I do. I'm a fan of a lot of that stuff. Not all of it. I was definitely a fan of Nirvana. I like Alice in Chains. I really like Stone Temple Pilots. Stone Temple Pilots have consistent good albums as a whole. Their whole albums are good. There are entire albums of Stone Temple Pilots that are top quality, cool, groovy rock. Like they're just damn sexy. I love Stone Temple Pilots. I was not a fan of Pearl Jam. I like Soundgarden. I like
Mudhoney?
I was not a Mudhoney fan.
Melvins?
I was not a Melvins fan either.
Mother Love Bone?
No. I like more rockin' stuff, more sludgy, heroin-induced,
Of all these bands that he listed, Nirvana, Melvin, Soundgarden, Mudhoney, and Alice in Chains, I like Alice in Chains. That's actually my fiance's, it's her favorite band of all time. Melvins is one of those bands that sometimes they got some stuff I love. I have a few of their records, but then there's other shit that just sounds like noise. Soundgarden, stuff I like. Mudhoney, never got into them. Nirvana, stuff I like. I think with Nirvana, I just got so sick of it just heard it so much, you just got burnt on it,
Well, Nirvana was one of those bands that at the time, and we covered this, at the time when it was popular, I was new. Only later was I appreciated how
agreed
almost every Nirvana song is a Beatles song. It's so Beatles influenced, and I like the Beatles, but it only was later that I realized how Beatles-esque those songs were and how amazing they are.
Jack Messman says, have you guys picked up any of the recent Kiss vinyl reissues? I thought the 2014 pressings were really well done, and now they've sucked me in again, and I'm rebuying the colored vinyl editions they've been putting out. By the way, the Lillard interview was great. Looking forward to your Scream rankings. Well, it's funny you should ask, because I got this in the mail yesterday.
Oh, boy. Look at that.
The new limited edition color vinyl Unmasked that came out from Kiss.com. Pretty cool. I got sucked in by the color. I really liked the splatter. Although the one on the website was more colorful. And I saw somebody post, I guess Walmart has a new exclusive Love Gun splatter vinyl that's coming out.
Oh.
Yeah. How many times can I buy the same record? Well,
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, oh God,
I keep
buy
doing
this again. I am tempted to buy the. There's one that I've been seeing of all the 4 solo albums in one package. Look at that.
Got this too.
All of the 4 solo albums in a box set. Peter Criss's is green. Ace's is blue. Blah 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 blah. So I'm kind of tempted to get that.
I almost hit buy so many times on that, but I'm like,
yeah.
I don't need it.
I'm right there with you.
And also, you saw my office. You see how little room I have left for more records. a box set that takes up so much space.
Yeah, those solo albums, the only one worth listening to is Ace Frehley's. I mean, Ace Frehley's solo album is killer.
Agreed, it's the best of the four, but the one that has grown on me, and I listen to it a lot more now, is Paul's.
I knew you were going to say that.
Dude, I mean, but hey, you can't deny that Peter Chris's, come on. That's the sugar mama. That's the sugar daddy likes. Is that what the song is? That's the sugar papa.
I don't know. I got a couple songs and I was like, I'm out.
It's
I will
so
go.
bad.
I will go. I'm going to rank those right now. Ace, Paul, Gene.
Oh, yeah. Easy. That's easy. Bobby Hall says, I thoroughly enjoyed the interview with Matthew Lillard. Right before Christopher said this was the best interview we've done, I was thinking the exact same thing. He was a pleasure and a breath of fresh air listening to him speak. He seems like a cool, genuine, and friendly guy. Also a terrific actor and is always memorable in whatever he does, no matter how big or small the role. I love how you guys interview people. You're all just friends talking, which is so refreshing and more entertaining than a formal type interview. Also wanted to say, I guess it helps when you are friends with them, though. Also wanted to say I really enjoyed the video you guys being interviewed on the WWAM channel. Wham. You have a lot of positive energy, and I really appreciate what Christopher said about overcoming fear and saying yes to opportunities. I have a question for both of you. You seem so nice and calm, and I was wondering if it's easy to maintain that level of calmness when you're working with people who are rude or have huge egos. Also wanted to suggest Tony Todd as a possible guest. Thanks for bringing this fantastic podcast to the world. You guys rock.
Wow. Thank you. That was quite the comment. Thank you so much. I'm so flattered. Thank you.
I have to be honest with you. I pride myself on my patience. I'm a very patient dude. It takes a lot to get me to the point of losing my shit. Not too many people have seen me there, but when I get there, it's not a pretty sight. I will say that, because I am a very patient motherfucker. There's no doubt about that. And I've dealt with some fucking massive egos, as I'm sure Chris has. Some stories you've told me sounds like you haven't been able to maintain that level of patience with a few of them.
It depends on my mood. Most of the time, I'm fairly patient. I think I'm a little quicker to snap. I don't like to. I don't take shit. I don't take rudeness, and I don't take ego very well. I'm just not good at it. I tend to call people on it pretty fast. And do I have patience? I have patience when I have to. I'm professional first and foremost, but no, I have a hard time. I'm not as good as Sean is.
Sawyer Smoke said, another awesome episode, dudes. That Freely Pumpkin is sick. I'd really like to see Roy Mayorga, the drummer from Stone Sour, on as a guest. He's always posting stuff on his Instagram about Myers masks and other horror stuff. Now, I don't know Roy, but it's funny, my buddy Darren, who was just at my little gathering on Saturday, was talking about how he's good friends with him. Obviously have a connection. I'm sure we could probably make that happen. Rye Guy 1988 said, I want to personally thank you guys for answering my question sincerely. It meant the world to me. I was actually listening to this episode with my wife, and we got a major kick out of it. It meant so much to me. I'm going to post about it, especially in my Stevie groups. He was the Stevie Ray Vaughan question. I hope you guys don't mind too much. I get a major kick out of it. You guys are genuine, humble, and extremely kind. Chris, you rock, man. I didn't know you worked on The Hunted, to be honest. I absolutely adore that film. Well, it doesn't sound like you worked on it very long, right? You quit, right? Did anything you do get used in that movie, or did you just walk before it happened?
Oh, no, yeah, no, it's in there.
Okay.
No, there's stuff in there. Yeah,
so
yeah.
He did work on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sean, you're a true gentleman and a kind soul. Both of you guys had immensely kind words to say about Stevie, and all true and real. Rock on, brothers. Do you think you guys would ever be able to get Clive Barker on, or even David Cronenberg, or Rick Baker, or any makeup effects guys on? Well, we got one on every day. Would you ever consider having more obscure guests on as well, or do more obscure films from time to time? I think The Entity or The Sentinel would be some pretty good picks to cover. Let me know what you guys think. Or even Legacy could be a good one too. Sadly, I know Wes isn't still with us, but maybe you guys could still cover some of his films as well. Maybe Near Dark. He just keeps going. He's just going, man. Rye Guy, what is going on, Rye Guy?
He's got a lot. He's got a lot. He's got to get on the plate.
Yeah.
He wants to see it all.
He wants to see it all. Maybe even Near Dark or Lost Boys. The Lost Boys is one of my favorite childhood films growing up, so it's very near and dear to my heart. Would you guys consider having Kiefer Sutherland or Alex Winter on to talk about it? Or even Jason Patrick? Thoughts? Thank you guys. Always love you dudes and respect for all you do. Dig it, my friend. Kudos. So yes, we would have everybody you asked about on and talk about everything you mentioned. Alex Winter has already agreed to come on at some point, so we will have Alex on.
No, I like the more obscure stuff. As far as makeup effects people, yeah, I can get anybody you want, pretty much. You want Rick Baker? I think I can get Rick Baker. I think we could do that. I can get... Who do you want makeup effects wise on? Aside from Rob Bottin. Because Rob Bottin... he's untouchable.
You just said anybody.
Nah. But yeah, man, who you want to talk to? Let's do it. I was thinking of like Mark Shostrom is like Evil Dead 2 and all that stuff.
Phantasm.
He's a pal of mine.
Phantasm 2 and 3.
He'd do it in a second. I love Mark. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I like obscure. Let's talk Lost Boys. I love the Lost Boys.
Get Greg Canham on.
Greg Canham, we can get him on here.
Brandon Gregory said, "We all have our vices, so no judgment at all." He must be a smoker.
It's a smoker thing.
However, I do worry what that cigarette smoke may do to all those awesome masks and appliances. Hurts my heart to think that they could be damaged.
They're not going to be damaged, first of all. Second of all, I don't really smoke in here very much. I really don't. I did that night, but it's not like I'm sitting in here fucking chain smoking. Like, I got it covered, dude. I'll take care of my masks and my appliances. I got it.
Next time you put a mask on somebody on set, what's that smell? Somebody been smoking in this mask?
I am very good about that.
No. Smoking in masks?
No, not things smelling like smoke around people.
Jordan Moran said, been loving and binging the podcast for a couple weeks now. The guests and you guys are probably my new favorite podcast. Probably, bro. We're probably your new favorite podcast. Yeah.
You want to think about that a little longer?
Yeah. Get back to us on that.
Put down some road cones and some flares while you think on that.
Yeah. Get back to us on that one. Jordan Moran said, keep up the good work. My question is, whose idea was it to use the Ghastly Ones as the theme, and do either of you have a connection to the band? I know they have a Rob Zombie and SFX connection within the band. I've had the track Mysterion for about 10 years on an old playlist and still play it frequently. I guess it was my idea because I knew what good friends Norman was with Chris, that I said, hey, do you think? Because we were trying to come up with something.
It was your idea to put a Ghastly One song on.
But it came from something you said, because I actually had written something. I was like, here, I could just whip something together. And you were like, it's kind of metal. Can you do something a little more like creepy, like surfy? And I'm just like, oh, like Ghastly Ones? And you're like, yeah. And I said, well, can we use something? Could you ask Norman? So I picked out a song that I thought would work. And, he said yes and was very courteous and nice. And we'll have him on the show at some point to probably talk about the Ghastly Ones and his makeup effects background.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, Sean suggested Ghastly Ones, and I think you were the one that picked the specific song, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I texted Norman and said, Norman's a very good friend of mine. I'm very proud of that. And I texted him and said, hey, can we use your song on our show? He was like, fuck yeah, man. So that's how that happened. And yeah, we got to have Norman on. He's super entertaining and super talented. We got to do that. That'd be a good show, actually. Yeah.
We will do it. Joke Year 21, or maybe it's just Joke Year. I can't ever tell with these numbers afterwards if it's the time or what. Let's just say Joke Year. Chris, if you enjoy horror novels, I'd recommend checking out Jonathan Yan's. His novel Exorcist Falls was awesome. Maybe it's Jonathan Jans. I thought it was a soft J, Yans. Exorcist Falls was awesome. Also, Grady Hendrix novel, We Sold Our Souls. And since you enjoy Stephen King, his son Joe Hill kicks ass. His novel, Heart-Shaped Box, is one you'd greatly appreciate, being an old school rocker. Sean, I don't have anything to say to you right now after seeing you use... Wait a second. Sean, I don't have anything to say to you right now after seeing how you used to style your hair. Haha. I look forward to next week's episodes, fellas. Well, you hating on the bangs? I felt really confident that maybe I could bring that look back after. Did you watch the episode and see the picture?
I didn't.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, you need to see the bangs.
Okay. I do need to see the bangs. I want to see the bangs because I'm probably going to be a big component of you bringing back the bangs.
Just to fuck with me. You know,
no. It was,
start a petition. Like, dude, you need to bring the bangs back.
I will check out those books. I'm excited. I always like to get a suggestion of a new book. I love that. So, yeah, I will check those out.
I won't be reading those books.
Sean won't be reading them. I will read them for him.
I'll watch the movies if they get made.
And I'll give him Cliff Notes.
Sean Smith said, hey, guys, thank you so much for reading my question up. Okay, this is what it says. Hey, guys, thank you so much for reading my question up. It means a lot to me.
All right.
Small typo, but we get the point. To
You're
Chris,
welcome.
I will definitely paint a Heath Ledger Joker painting and send it to you. Stay safe. Love you guys.
Wow.
So he's going to paint you a Heath Ledger Joker painting. And
okay.
Sean Smith, that shares a name with me and the correct spelling, doesn't give a fuck about Sean Clark.
You don't get fucking
no painting.
nothing.
Nothing. Nah.
Sean gets nothing from Sean.
Pretty shitty.
He basically was like, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, that
I get a
fuck you. Might as well just.
I get a tasty Joker painting, and
yeah,
you get
or it
nothing.
Or it could be complete dog shit, and you'll get stuck with this shitty painting.
That's true.
And then I'll have the laugh.
You got bupkis, which, by the way, I would like to bring that word back.
Yeah,
bupkis.
And if that painting sucks, I'm gonna call it out because you
what if
didn't
it's
offer
great?
Me nothing.
What if it's great?
If it's great, I'll admit it's great.
Oh, okay.
Sean Smith, you better paint your ass off, brother.
Better paint that shit up.
Paint that shit like you never painted. All right. Hungry wives. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I always get so into you guys just talking, I forget there's even a guest. While the guests have all been great, they're more like a fun surprise at the end of the show I'm already enjoying. I can't tell you how many podcasts I listen to where I just skip to the guest, including a few you guys have been guests on. Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, it's funny. I do the opposite. There's a couple podcasts I listen to, and if I don't care about the guest, I just check out. I'll listen to a horror podcast where they're talking movies and stuff and things they've seen recently. But when I get to the guest, if it's somebody I'm not interested in, I'll try. I'll give them a chance. And if they're boring me to tears talking about their shit I've never seen and don't care about, I'm done.
I gotcha.
Leah said, or Leah, L-E-A-H? Is that just Lay?
I think it's Leah.
L-E-A-H. I don't know.
Leah.
I'm female. I watch your show. I find it entertaining and funny. Christopher also has the most charming voice.
Oh.
Not freaking girly enough to put some love heart eye emoji crap, though. Question for you both. If you could remake any horror film, what would it be?
That's awfully sweet. Thank you, Leia.
What's wrong with my voice, Leia? Shit. And that Sean guy's got an annoying fucking voice.
Sean's voice is aggressively abrasive.
With his stupid hair. My hair is kind of doing something funny right here. I don't know what that's about.
You got a little lick. You got a lick going on.
All right.
That's awfully nice of you. Thank you.
She wants to know if you could
remake.
I actually said this in an earlier episode. I'd mentioned Tourist Trap is one I'd like.
Tourist Trap.
Although House of Wax was kind of a tourist trap.
Has it got to be a horror movie?
That's what she asked. Horror movie.
Oh, okay.
I do Terror Train also, just because I love that movie so much.
Yeah, you remake Terror Train.
I don't know.
All the thing that comes to mind is regular movies, like non-horror movies come to mind that I'd like to remake. I'd like to remake Capricorn 1. And I'd like to remake 12 Angry Men, and I'd like to remake.
They already made 12 Angry Men.
Nah, I know, but I'd do it again. But Capricorn 1, come on.
I've never seen Capricorn 1.
Oh my God. Do you even like movies?
I think I saw.
Have you not seen Capricorn 1?
Sequel, Capricorn 2. Speaking of which, have you seen the Craft remake trailer?
Yes. Well, I didn't like the other Craft either.
I like the other Craft, but I didn't like it when it came out. I watch it now and I like it.
Right.
I always thought Fairuza Balk was so cute in a like.
Oh yeah. No, she's the girlfriend that you have in high school that gets you in all kinds of trouble, but she's amazing and you love her for the rest of your life, even though you break up with her terribly and you move on and get married and like you have a whole life, but she's that kind of girl where you're like, I still love her. She's still gorgeous. Yeah.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I got to get back to you on the remake of a horror movie. I don't know.
Brian Cupo said, greetings from Wilmington, North Carolina. Sean and Chris, wow. Such awesome YouTube videos from two awesome guys. I have a statement and then a question statement. Sean, we met last year at Mad Monster in Charlotte, North Carolina after meeting/talking with Heather Langenkamp, my boyhood crush, second only to Elizabeth Shue. The only other person I was, and in caps, so jazzed up to meet was you. Wow. Anyway, we met and I talked for a few, and I was so thrilled that you really liked the photos I showed you of my very first Freddy mask/prop head. Chris, same thing. I met you one night on the set of Halloween Kills on the sound stages of EUE, Screen Gems, and you were such a cool, down-to-earth, nice guy, and you too also liked the images of my Freddy Krueger mask/prop. It just means a lot to get real props from two real awesome guys. Question, Chris, is there or will there ever be a short documentary of you making the H18/H-Kill mask? The DVD of H18 had way too little behind-the-scene content, and I think it would be a fan-fucking-tastic to get more content of you talking, sculpting, molding, painting, final processing of the new masks. Sean, Horrors Hallowed Grounds, Wilmington, North Carolina. Come on, man. I love to help or grab a tasty beverage. Godspeed, fellas. You both rock. That's a very
wow.
This is a very enthusiastic message because he does a lot of caps, so it's like he's screaming. Ah, does that a lot.
What was his name? What's the guy's name?
His name was Brian. I don't know if it's Cupco, Kupko.
I'm calling him Cupcake.
Brian the Cupcake.
I'm calling him Brian Cupcake. Brian Cupcake, thank you. And I mean that in the best way. Cupcake is a term of endearment. Thank you, Brian. That was an enthusiastic comment, and I love it. And thank you, man.
I've seen Chris eat a cupcake, so I know that means, something special.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure at some point there's going to be something on you making those masks, but right now it's shrouded in secrecy.
It is. Well, we shot a lot of that. There was a crew that came and we did a whole thing about the making of the mask when we were making 2018, and some of it did end up on the DVD, but not all of it. So there's a lot of footage and a lot of stuff that hasn't been shown yet that might very well end up on a future DVD. So yeah.
Heather was asking me if I'll do some Horrors Hallowed Grounds in Wilmington, and I'd love to. Actually, I want to do Trick or Treat. The 80s movie with Skippy from Family Ties. That's in North Carolina, I believe. Tristan J. I had the same bad Savini experience. Happened to a friend of mine, too. I didn't take it personally, though. Still like the guy. No hard feelings. I had a rough Corey Feldman interaction, too. That was a bummer because I'm an 80s kid. My best experiences were Heather Langenkamp, Daniel Harris, Tom Atkins, and Tony Todd. Okay, well.
Did we talk shit about Tom Savini on the last episode?
No, somebody said that he was terrible to meet, and I backed him up. I went on the defense for Tom.
Oh, okay. Tom's a good guy.
He is.
He's actually, I think he's shy.
I think it's the attention thing. He gets distracted. Don Harrison, I don't know what this is a reference to. He just said, Red Rover, let Ray go over.
That's a Burbs comment.
Oh, okay. Another
it's a
great
Burbs
episode.
Reference.
He said another great episode. Okay, so Daniel Caruso said, hey, my favorite awesome dudes. As always, want to thank you. Can't say it enough. Finally entering October, our favorite holiday. The drive-ins will be playing the original Halloween this month. Just wondering if it's playing out your way and if you guys are going. Love the Creeper, Chris. Fantastic job. I haven't heard about it playing at any drive-ins around here yet.
I haven't either.
But we were going to go see it at the Sugar Mint, and then we ended up not going. But
yeah.
I mean, I've definitely seen that movie probably enough to do me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you on that.
But I do love it. Oh boy, Ken Coakley said Tom Savini was nice to me all 3 times I met him. There we go. See, somebody said Tom was nice to him.
There you go.
The only celeb who seemed standoffish was Michael Biehn, but he wasn't rude. He just seemed down. Then a few years later, I saw him again, and he was really nice. I heard Tom Atkins was really rude once, but again, he was nice to me. Now, one thing that Tom gets flack for is I think people think that he's ignoring them. He's deaf in one ear. So you could be standing right next to him. If you're in the wrong ear, he won't hear you. And you might think he's blowing you off. So,
well, the other thing too is people don't realize is that sometimes you could meet the person you've been wanting to meet and they're having a really bad day, like a shitty day.
Yeah.
Like 9 times out of 10, they're going to be nice and they're going to be great and they'll do the thing. But sometimes you might catch somebody when they're not feeling well, something's going on in their personal life. You could just get somebody on a bad day, and that's all you're getting. So keep that in mind when you meet people.
It does happen. He said the only people I saw being rude to other people were Doug Bradley and Bronson Pinchot. I guess that's Balky. Fucking Balky.
Balky was rude?
Pinchot was rude to my best friend. He kind of calmed down when I told him he looked like Sal Mineo. As for live shows, I saw Queen in Boston in 1980. Months later, I saw Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Paul Di'Anno was the singer, but I never saw them with Bruce Dickinson. I saw the Ramones 7 times. First time was in 87. That's actually the first year I saw them, was in 87. It was Marky Ramone's first night back after the Ramones had Clem Burke from Blondie played with them for one show in Providence, Rhode Island. The 5th time I saw them, Dee Dee had left and I hadn't heard. I stood there in shock until I got Doc Martin in the head. So now we have a history of Ken Coakley's concert experiences.
I'm proud of you, Ken.
Ken, you're a badass. Sammy Hain said, hey, you guys, question for you both this time. Where do you think the Halloween franchise is going next after Halloween ends, like story-wise and such? Maybe your ideal story you'd like to see next for Michael. Thanks, guys. You know what? Who fucking knows, really? I mean,
no freaking idea. I'm not a big speculator. I'm not a fan of speculation.
I don't think they're asking for speculation. They're just like, once Halloween ends is done and that's put to bed, where would you, if it's going to start over again?
Of course it will.
Yeah.
It's going to start over in a completely different direction. Yeah. I
already have the title. Halloween Begins. There you go. You go to ends, then begins.
Sure.
All right. Mike Lighton says, hi, guys. Loving the show from the UK. Stupid question time. Have you ever noticed a plot hole in a film so massive it drives you mad? Oh, yes. He said, mine is Friday the 13th, Part 1. How does Pamela Voorhees throw Brenda through the window of the cabin at Alice only to jump back in her car and drive up the path and drive back down again a few seconds later? How fast do you think she was going? And the last one is, how do the gremlins sing in the snow without multiplying? You can say it's ice, but it's still wet. Can't wait to see you come back to the UK, Sean, for London Film Comic-Con. Keep up the good work, guys, and stay safe.
Oi! I'm with you. This sounds like one of those, you should just shut up and eat your popcorn. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, but no.
I get you. I'm with you.
The Friday the 13th one has bothered me, too. I agree with that one.
Yeah, but you can do that with, what's the last giant plot hole the Indiana Jones movie, the Crystal Skull one? Mm-hmm. There's a giant hole in that. Like, you could drive a semi-truck through where there's a certain amount of aliens. Remember, it's all about an alien crystal skull? And there was a certain amount of them that you had to have all together. There was 12.
I saw that movie once.
And then, but they had one in the car that they had been lugging around the whole time. but they didn't put. Anyway, I can go on. You know, there's lots of holes in almost every movie. I can give you a hole.
We probably lost so many viewers just then. All right. During that old Crystal Skull rant. I saw that movie once in the theater and never wanted to see it again.
I know.
Terry Clark. Again, not my uncle. I have an uncle, Terry Clark, but this is not him. Hi, guys. Question for Sean. Do you have any Jaws items as part of your collection? Jaws is my favorite film and soundtrack. Be cool to see what you have. I mean, I have toys and books and records and Blu-rays and shit like that, but I don't have any props. The usual. I have that vintage, what is it, is it the shark in the bottle model kit thing? I have one of those sealed. So I got some cool old school shit, but yeah, no props. Mikey Horror says, hey guys, would love to be able to comment on the show, but unfortunately I didn't hear a damn word of it on account of being completely hypnotized by Chris's insane creep show ticket booth. I'm sure it was a great show though. So thanks for not having it in the background this time because you're fucking show up.
You're welcome.
Bob Calderon said, Dear Sean, I really enjoyed the program. Was wondering if you are into the Halloween movie called Mad Monster Party. How would you rate this movie? Well, clearly you haven't watched all our episodes because I talked about how that's my go-to movie every Halloween. I'm a big Mad Monster Party fan. In fact, I don't know if you went upstairs at all on Saturday. Did you ever go upstairs to the? Yeah. Oh, because I had it playing on the TV upstairs. Space Monkey 907 says, hey guys, Anchorage, Alaska again. I was pleasantly surprised to hear you read my comment on a previous episode, and even more pleasantly surprised to hear Sean is from Anchorage. So I've got a kind of off-air question. Well, unfortunately, we have to do it on air. That's what the whole show's about. Is there an email or some other line of contact I could email you guys? Nothing weird or long-winded, I promise. It would mean a lot to me, and I'll be completely respectful. Love you guys. Talk to you soon, I hope. We mentioned it earlier in the show that, yes, Instagram's probably the best place to get us.
And the fact that you said nothing weird means it's going to be something weird.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry. It's not going to be nothing weird or long-winded, which means it'll be this really long-winded weird.
It's going to be a long, roundabout way to ask for pictures of our feet. You know, something like that. Space Monkey.
Yeah, Space Monkey.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. I think we've covered everything, and now we're
awesome.
Get into this interview. Well, not really an interview. We're ranking the Scream franchise with Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills. And once again, this episode is brought to you by Johnson's & Johnson. So, you know, if you're feeling a little swampy downstairs and you want a little cancer,
all you got to do is
you don't
wash
want to
yourself.
smoke to get it.
Just wash your business. You don't have to use that shit.
You don't have to smoke to get cancer. You can use this on your boys.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, we're ranking the Scream movies because you asked for it.
Me?
I'm not a fan of ranking. No, not you. Our friends.
Okay.
Our friends asked us to rank stuff, so we're ranking it.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of the ranking, but I'm doing it.
We're
doing it for you.
So keep that in mind when you're watching this. He's not having fun. So keep that in the back of your mind. I want you to think about how he's not enjoying himself. By the way, want to say thank you to everybody who's been subscribing. We just hit 9,000, which is pretty awesome. Ooh. And we'll have a big celebration. When we hit 10, I'm going to pull out my penis. So
that's right. He is.
Yeah. So
he does it for me all the time. So it's old hat.
Yeah.
But it's literally an old hat.
Yeah, no, my cock is an old hat.
Is an old hat. But thank you, guys. Thank you for all that. Tell all your friends. Click, subscribe, make comments. Send, we love you.
Okay, actually, I don't want to discourage people from subscribing. I promise not to pull out my penis if we hit 10,000. There we go. Then we'll get the subscriptions.
Thank you. I will bake everybody cookies when we hit 10,000.
Yeah, and he will bring them individually to each of your doorsteps.
To your house.
Colin Murdy, he's coming for you, pal. I'm
coming for you, Colin. I'm gonna bring cookies to you, lad.
Like little 4-leaf clovers.
Little clovers. I'm gonna bring them to you. Oh, that's Scottish.
You do a good Scottish though. It works. It works.
I'm gonna bring some cookies to you. I'm gonna little clovers to you, right to your door. I'm going to knock on the door, you're going to open it up, and I'm going to bring you cookies. Hey, you like that? Nah, here we go. We're going to watch the screen now. Alright.
Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy, Spencer.
And top of the morning to you. Hello, Spencer. How are you, sir? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
A pleasure. I like your pumpkin, your mask.
Thank you very much. I was watching some of the interviews today, and I saw you guys had some great masks displayed. I didn't want to be upstage, so I had to at least get one in there.
The fact that you're wearing a Silent Night, Deadly Night shirt is enough. That's awesome.
I appreciate that. One of my favorites.
So Spencer and I, we've actually never met. We know a lot of the same people, but this is actually our first time ever really talking other than via text. So
I know. It's really cool because, you know, I've been an admirer of your videos for a long time. I think probably the first time I saw it was on like a bonus feature in one of the Halloween DVDs or something. And I think it was the first time I ever saw anyone do video footage of like the original Halloween locations, which I became, you know, obviously obsessed with and eventually sought them out on my own. But yeah, it's cool speaking with you finally.
Have you always been a horror fan, genre, into that kind of culture? Have you always been that way, or is it something that you took on later?
As long as I can remember, you know, since I was a little kid, I loved horror, and I think it started when I would go grocery shopping with my mom to this one supermarket where I grew up on the North Shore of Boston. Inside the supermarket was a little VHS store. And while my mom was shopping, I would always kill time looking around. And for whatever reason, I was just drawn to the horror aisle. And I think it was like the cover art on all those VHS tapes on the Halloweens and Friday the 13th and Sleepaway Camp and Creep Show. And I was just drawn to it. And I would beg my parents like for weeks or months, like, let me see this film, let me see this film. And eventually they caved and let me see the original Halloween. I must have been probably like 6 or 7 when I saw it. And from there it was just like one after another, like which Halloween am I going to rent tonight? And then the first one I ever saw in the theater was Scream. And I was 11 and I was already a huge fan of slasher films. And I just remember it so vividly. I saw it in Florida. It was on Christmas break. And the second the killer starts mentioning Michael and Jason, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be my favorite movie. I can't believe I'm seeing a movie in a theater and the horror villain is talking about these characters that I love. And from there, like, it just skyrocketed with my love of horror even more.
would you say Scream's your favorite franchise?
I think Scream 1 is at the top of my list for favorite films, probably because it encompasses all those other characters and franchises that I love. So it's like a super movie including all those. But as far as like whole franchises, it's a toss-up probably between Friday the 13th and Halloween, like as a whole, not just like a standalone movie. But yeah, I've got great love for Scream, and I'm glad that we're going to be talking about it too.
Well, it's so generational, isn't it? I mean, it's the elephant in the room. Like I'm an older guy, and I grew up on, you know, we both are.
You guys look good. You must use good lotion.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
Except I'm sunburned today.
It's so funny to me, as you grow older, being in the horror world, and you can identify everybody's likes with what movie they grabbed onto at that vital age. You know, usually ends up being around 10, 11 years old for a lot of people. It's so funny because I was working in film, working on horror movies when Scream came out, and we went and saw it. And when you're so loyal to the originals, to classic film, i.e. like I grew up on Universal horror films and Lon Chaney stuff and all this, you know, and then the films of the 70s, which there were so many hardcore 70s horror films, and then Scream comes out. So it's a very new generation film, and it's very interesting to me how Scream has become such a iconic classic series and film for horror, because I watch it in a very different way. It's so funny. It's like, oh, okay, Scream. You know, but it had such an impact on a generation because it really was of its time. Would you not say?
That's Chris's easy way of saying that we're older and it wasn't as cool for us when it came out as it was for you.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I'd like to get you guys' perspective on that. So, like, when it came out, the hardcore, because I'm assuming you guys were also pretty big fans of the classic 80s films. You know, you grew up when those were coming out. Did Scream not have like the street cred, even though Wes was involved and even though it was pretty brutal? Did it seem like, oh, this is like more of like a soap opera, like 90210 kind of a slasher?
Yeah, that's a really great way of putting it, the way that you just did it. That's the way I kind of went into it, was like, oh, this is Beverly Hills 90210 for horror fans, and it was, everybody's beautiful, and there's beautiful people doing bad things to other beautiful people, and it was very polished, very slick kind of vibe to it, which at the time, I guess, when you're hardcore, you're like, meh, that doesn't, meh. But that being said, when I first saw Scream, I was really impressed and I really liked it. The minute Drew Barrymore gets offed in the first act, you're like, okay, you got me now. Like, okay. So that worked for me. The Wes Craven thing, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the only reason why I went and saw it, was because of Wes Craven.
Chris and I are only 2 years apart in age, but for me, I have that same feeling he has. However, I really liked Scream, and I am a Scream fan, but everything that followed it, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend, all those to me felt like the 90210 form, because all the posters started to have the stacked heads. And, you know, even H2O was being promoted that way, you know, and they did everything 100%. In their power to get Kevin Williamson's name on that poster when he really didn't do anything in that movie. That's a whole nother
which
story.
Which is a testament to Scream.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a testament to that movie that it started a whole new look and poster art and the way to approach a genre. I think it's a testament to that movie. It was the first of its kind. Absolutely. Yeah. Even though it was derivative of so many other things, it really was the first of its kind, and we're still seeing movies today that are coming out that are a ripoff of Scream, which are a ripoff of this, which are a ripoff of that.
I have heard the comparison that Scream is to I Know What You Did Last Summer as Halloween was to Friday the 13th, something that was made clearly in its wake, sort of unashamedly trying to cash in on it. Yeah. And I always thought that was kind of an interesting comparison, even though, you know, I have a soft spot for I Know What You Did Last Summer, but, you know, it's not as meaningful to me as Friday the 13th. But I do agree. It felt like Scream came from sort of an honest slasher fan's perspective. You know, they tipped their hat. They even mentioned, like, you know, I spit on your garage, like as a reference, I spit on your grave. But those other films that did fall in their wake did seem like they were just, okay, well, you know, what's popular? Let's grab that Scream mojo and run with it. So I can definitely see that, and felt that same way at the time too.
Yeah, but I also too appreciate the fact that Wes was trying to bring the classics into a new generation and having them recognize it, because I'm sure a lot of people when they were young went and saw Scream and they heard about these other movies being referenced. They went, oh, I've never seen that. I've got to go back and see that. Yeah. You know, and they went back and watched them, which was a slick thing to do. Again, very slick. Yeah.
Sort of a gateway drug back to the film that inspired it.
Yeah, I think we 100%. All kind of related to Jamie Kennedy's character in a way, you know, being the horror nerd, and that was a really well-written character, you know. And obviously the biggest impact Scream had was that great ending, that surprise. You know, nobody saw that coming. Nobody had really done that before. The dual killers, but then they tried to keep capturing that lightning in a bottle.
Then it got out of hand, which we'll get into.
But I agree. I remember that finale, especially the first time. I was like, "What is going on?" Yeah. It's Billy and Stu, and I did think the chemistry of those two guys sold that movie at the end. I mean, I thought that was just a fantastic performance from both of them.
It was expertly cast, that movie.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Expertly cast. Every part was perfect, and every actor in it was perfect, and that was again another testament to how good that movie is. Yeah.
100%. And Marco Beltrami's score, I thought, was also just brilliant. And I think he was kind of an unknown at the time. I heard something about like Wes even like found him on a message board. I don't know if there's too much truth to that story, but we all know what happened with that guy. I mean, he would go on to score huge films and work with Wes on a number of his great ones.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing we're all in agreement on what our number one is. Which is going to be Scream 1.
Scream 1.
Not too much debating there.
Yeah. No, but there are fans, a lot of fans actually, to my surprise, that do put Part 2 above 1.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was at this thing called Scream Comes Home, which was this convention type style thing at the house from the ending scene, Stu's house. It took place in Santa Rosa a couple years ago, and the house was set up just like it is in the film. And it was one of the only filming locations where I was there, and I was like, wow, this really is set up just like the movie. Like everything is in context of which room is where. And I just remember, we were watching the films later on in the house, and a lot of people were making the argument for Scream 2 being ahead of Scream 1. And I'm just not part of that.
Wow.
I'm not part of that group.
That's amazing.
Well, we can go on record right now to tell, publicly that those people were wrong.
They are.
Because we all three just said they were wrong because we chose Scream as number one.
Yeah, you're wrong. You're absolutely 100% wrong.
No debate on that.
Yeah. So who wants to go first? I think you're the bigger Scream fan, Spencer, so I think we should let you go first on your number 2 pick.
I have a controversial second film.
Ooh, I'm excited.
In my ranking, and it's Scream 4. I felt that Scream 4 was the closest in tone to the original. Now, there's a big gap between how good Scream 1 and Scream 4, and I think with any sequel, it's so hard to live up to what Scream 1 was, because, as we were saying, it was so groundbreaking at the time in terms of that surprise ending and all these sort of other cliches like the whodunit within the slasher that became the template for the rest of the 90s slasher copycats. It was the only one really that took place again in Woodsboro. Part 2, they went off to college. Part 3 was moved to Hollywood because famously they wanted to dump the high school thing again because Columbine had happened recently. And I really think that the only main killers reveal that the monologue rather, that came even close to touching on how good Skeets was Emma Roberts. Of course, you have to suspend your disbelief that this little girl was killing people and she's so short. And one of the things I wish is when they reveal, like, at least she was on an apple box or on the stairs because she looks so small. But I thought that her monologue at the end of Scream 4 was brilliant. I thought it was brilliantly written. I thought it was brilliantly performed. And I really believe that she was a psychopath. I thought Roger Jackson's lines were the best since Part 1. He says, I'm going to slit your eyelids in half so you can't blink when I stab you in the face. I thought that was great. Yeah, I would put Part 4 as my number 2.
Wow.
Chris, what is your number 2?
Are you going to make me do this?
Yes, I am.
All right. As Sean knows, and as our friends out there know.
Disclaimers.
I'm going to disclaim everything first.
Grumpy cat image.
Yep. I'm brutally honest when it comes to film. I'm going to go back to what I said about the Halloween and a lot of other series and things like that. After Part 1, to me, it's just all goulash. And we're going to call it goulash. Like, after that, it's just like, meh. Like, they're just trying to chase the dragon. It's like you shot up once and it felt really great and all this stuff. And then after that, you're like going, yeah, it's not as good anymore. Like, you're just trying to chase this thing that you'll never recapture. I think they should have stopped after the first one, is what I think. But that being said, I watched them. I've seen them all and stuff like that. The other half of me is like, I love the fun of them. It's weird. 2, 3, and 4, I want to take pieces of them and make a different film. There are pieces of each one of them I want to cut together and make a strong Part 2 is what I want to do. That being said, I have to say what my number 2 is, don't I? This is really hard for me. because again, it's all goulash. As cheesy and goofy as part 3 is, that's the one in Hollywood, right? With Parker Posey and everything. As cheesy and goofy as that movie is, there's something I really like about that movie.
Me too.
I think because it was the movie that realized what it was. It didn't take itself so seriously. It was so over the top. There's some funny shit in that movie. There's a lot of funny stuff in that movie. As a horror movie, I wouldn't rate it very high, but as a comedy, I would. But I would say, I think number 3 is my number 2. Yeah.
I respect that.
I think there are things about it that put it above the others. And I'll get into it when we talk about the other 2. But I'm going to say number 3 is my number 2. Yeah.
Okay. My number 2. I have to completely agree with Spencer. Number 4 is my number 2. That I just feel that the 4th film...
I knew that when we were texting. I knew it.
How did you know that? Number 2 started to get silly. Number 3 got super silly. Part 4 seemed to reel it back in and pull away from the comedy, make it more of a horror film again. And it did have a good reveal. I agree with Spencer completely. You have to kind of let the whole could Emma Roberts and this small little Culkin kid be the killers? Probably not. It works. The idea works. And back in Woodsboro, it had more of the vibe of the first film, although I don't think it holds a candle to the first film. But in my opinion, of the 4, the 4th one is the second best.
But what are we talking about here? I mean, here's what cracks me up. Is like, if you put it into perspective of the story that they're telling across the 4 films, are you fucking serious with the whole family and the this and the, it's this guy who is the brother and it's this girl who is the cousin of the aunt of the person who died, and you're going, are you fucking serious with this shit? Like,
hey,
I mean,
nobody's going to argue that that's completely fucking ridiculous that all these people are killing people and
right. So that being said, my point is like part 3, you go, you got to make fun of this shit. You just got to go. This is so off the rails story wise.
Okay, but as far as the Scream franchise, I think 4 is better. And you know, the thing that pisses me off is the fact that they had such a great potential killer in Cotton Weary. Why they never went that route?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lev Schreiber easily could have been the killer. Big dude, has full motive. Yeah. You know, why did they waste that character by killing
100%,
him?
I agree with you. I was like, in part 2, because it's part 2, right? Where he comes and he's like, and you're going, well, he should be the killer. He should be the killer for what? Huh? Like, it makes sense, you know. But anyway,
there are some great dramatic moments in part 2 where you're totally supposed to believe he is the killer, and he touches on some lines, and it's a little bit of the score that helps him, but he's got that in his eye when he's like, unless you see me standing over the body with a knife in my hand. Like, I was like, this guy, he could give a great closing monologue too.
Yeah.
So I do see
he's a hell of an actor. Also, too, I just want to go on record with the Scream series before we go any further, that it's the best drinking game. I don't know if anybody out there is a drinker, but if you're a drinker, I would like everyone to watch these movies and take a shot every time whoever it is in the mask falls down, gets kicked and falls over, runs into something. Like, it's the most comical thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like watching the Marx Brothers. This guy's like so smart. He can, every single one of them in every movie, they're so smart that he can change his voice and call people from in the same room but get away with it, and he's outside but he's inside, and he's all this shit. But then when he goes to tax people, he's always falling down and like getting kicked. He's the most clumsy fucking killer I've ever seen in my life. So not scary. We were like, oh my God. Like, I counted in the first 30 minutes, I think it was at part 4, I would have done 6 shots in the first 30 minutes, maybe even more. And I'd have been obliterated, wouldn't make it through the rest of the movie. Like it cracks me up. Anyway, sorry. Go.
How about the?
You kind of picture Kramer under the costume.
It's totally what I think. I'm like, it's Kramer.
But
I was 11 when I saw it, and at the time, the Mask was so new to me. It hadn't been like pop culturized with the Scary Movie, so it was probably because I was 11. But anytime that Mask was on the screen, it scared the shit out of me.
Wow, really interesting.
But I was a little kid seeing it in the theater, and it was terrifying.
Well, I mean, here's the biggest thing that nobody talks about, really. The one thing that really is bullshit in all the Scream movies is there isn't, even to this day with today's technology, a voice changer that sounds exactly like Roger Jackson. That anybody can sound. Well, in fact, they changed it to where you could sound like anybody in the last movie, part 3.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You can sound like anybody.
I mean, it's like, that's bullshit.
I can get around that. I can give it the shut up and eat your popcorn.
Well, that's what we all did. I'm just saying.
No, but it did not stop 11-year-old me from searching out that voice changer because they used a voice changer that looked, identical to a model that you would find like in those like amateur spy catalogs. Mm-hmm. And I remember tracking it down. It looked very like almost identical, except the only difference was like the buttons were colored instead of just black buttons. And I remember being so disappointed when I got it. I was like,
it didn't change your voice?
It changed it to like there were 3 settings, like it made you sound like a robot and like super low, but man, it did not sound like Roger Jackson. Right. So to get back to what you were saying, I'm a big fan of Scream 3 in a completely different way. I think it's, as you said, it's really funny. You have Parker Posey, who I loved from, the Christopher Guest films. I think she's a brilliant comedic actress. I think the first time I ever saw her was probably in Waiting for Guffman or Dazed and Confused. Yeah. And she's like one of those actresses that always steals the show.
Love her.
I just really enjoyed it. It was kind of like, there have been comparisons made to like kind of Scooby-Doo. Like it's like it's goofy. But I also think there are some really clever scenes. The way that they were able to get back to Woodsboro without going to Woodsboro by having the sets be identical to Sydney's house and to Stu's house, and some of the scenes where she's on set and she knows where to go because it's a replica of her house. Like those little sort of nods to the original and really clever ways of getting back to old set pieces without going to them felt very meta in a cool way. And I just kind of have a soft spot in my heart for it. Even though I agree with you guys on the Cotton Weary thing, I did think just the fact that they figured out a way to make his talk show called 100% Cotton, I thought was so funny.
That is good. See, that's why I love it. It's really funny.
So I would say that is my number 3. I'm always a little bit disappointed. I know that the lesson gore was intentional because they were trying to not make it so violent because everyone was sort of up in arms about Columbine at the time. And I think that was part of the reason they were trying to soften it. They didn't want to go for a hard R. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think I was like probably 13 at the time. And I actually thought that there were some kind of creepy sequences, like the flashbacks when she's thinking she's seeing her mother in the window of her house when she's sort of off in the middle of nowhere because she's trying to, start her own a new life away from everything. Yeah, I thought there were some creepy moments. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
All right. Well, see, here's the problem. As we reveal our third, everybody knows our fourth. But we can, since it's so few films, we'll keep going around and we'll explain why we dislike whichever one the most. So my number 3 is number 2. I like the Randy character, and I like the fact that there's more Jamie Kennedy in it. I love Timothy Oliphant's performance, and I thought he was great in it. My only gripe with part 2 is Billy's mom that's just stupid. I can't, when she goes crazy at the end and they're fighting on the stage, I was having a hard time, you know, even when I saw it in the theater, I was like, man, this is just dumb. Could have just left it Timothy Olyphant. He was great. He had a real psycho look to him, and he could just been a super fan. Why did we have to do the Billy's mom thing? I just thought that was lame. But with that said, I still prefer it over part 3.
I get that about you. I get that. It says a lot about you.
Oh, shut up. What? What about me? You hate all these movies. Who are you to talk?
I definitely agree. I remember when it was revealed, it's like, oh man, that's just an insignificant character that could, it could have been the mailman. They just a woman that had shown up in a few scenes. So I do agree on that part. Although I do find her, in retrospect, the whole reveal and some of her dialogue to be kind of humorous, which, I like all the films. They're like comfort food to me in a certain way.
She's a great actress. I really like her. I like her for her. I didn't like her in that. So it's my turn. Wait, my number 3?
Yes, sir.
My number 3 is number 4. I like Emma Roberts. I've worked with Emma Roberts, actually, on Horror Story a few times. And she's super cool, so I'm a little partial to that. I liked it. I thought it was, again, they were like trying to go back to the first one and go, we'll have it be 2 people and they're doing this and blah, blah, blah. And the Culkin kid, I was like, you got to get out. That's it. I don't like him. Get out. Get him out of the movie. They just get so ridiculous. Oh my God. So yeah, my number 3 is number 4.
Now we just rip on our 4th pick. So Spencer, you can go ahead and start.
I hate part 2 as well. I'm with you.
We're tied on that one, and Sean and I are tied on the other one. For me, like, as I said, over the years, I have grown to love them all because it's like comfort food. Horror fans love that. It kind of takes you back to that part of your life. But for me, you have to remember, after Scream 1 came out, after I saw it in the theater, and still to this day, I'm the only one I know who's my age that saw it in the theater. My parents were cool. They would allow me to see these movies. They would take me to see them. So I was always the kid coming back to the schoolyard, like, man, you got to see Scream, like telling all my friends, much to the dismay of their parents, right? I loved it so much that, I would hassle my mom every day, like, can we find the mask? And imagine a time before that mask was readily available. Can you even think like at that time? But at that time, you couldn't find it. Like, I know it had been sold through Fun World, but I don't think they were that big of a deal yet. So we searched for the mask. I couldn't find it. And I remember my mom even took me to see part 1 again when they re-released it. I think later like in the spring of '97, because it was such a phenomenon that they brought it back to the theaters. I went to see it again, counting down the days till it came out on VHS. I had like a whole party to see Scream 1 with all my friends because they had never seen it. So bottom line, what I'm trying to get at, I was obsessed, right? And I was so excited to see Scream 2. I was there opening day. Scream 2 is a clever film. The whole idea that this series Stab was created about the murders in the first one and had this very cool meta vibe. And I appreciate it on that level. But based on simply like a scare level, didn't hold up to part 1. And I remember I was 11 years old, so that movie was really scary to me, especially that first sequence. And the opening of Scream 2, again, very clever, but it was in a movie theater and there were all these people there. It didn't have that, oh my God, I'm alone in a house and this guy's gonna kill me. I thought, like Sean, you had mentioned, the reveal was a little bit off kilter. I know that in researching part 2 over the years that a script was leaked online or something during Scream 2. So they had to change the killers during filming. And I don't know if the mom was always supposed to be the killer. I think she was, but I know Sydney's roommate was originally going to be one of the killers and they changed it. So I think maybe some of the disconnect of the ending was due to the fact that they had to rewrite it during the process. It just didn't scare me as much and didn't have as much of an impact. I remember being disappointed, but there is the best sequence in Scream 2.
I know what you're going to say. I was about to bring it up. Go ahead.
Okay, I hope we're on the same page. It's when they're in the car.
Yep, and they have to crawl over him.
Yes, okay. That is a brilliantly orchestrated scene. The killer is passed out in the front seat, knocked out from the car, and the only way the girls can escape, they try the back door, they can't get out because it's a cop car, so they do have to crawl over him. And I remember that scene being terrifying, and I was like, wow, this is like Wes, right in his like bread and butter, you know. The reveal, you know, as you mentioned, Sean, with Metcalf was a little bit wishy-washy, and also, although I love the guy who plays Mickey, I think he's a great actor. It's just like it's not working for me when you're comparing it to Skeet. It's like, I don't know, it just seemed like he was kind of doing imitation, and it was a tough act to follow. So that's why Scream 2 falls at the bottom for me.
Oh yeah, it's fucking terrible movie. It's fucking awful. It's awful. Again, drinking game. Like, I'm like, what are we talking about?
I want to get into drinking. Okay, if you become a regular watcher of this show, we can have a drinking game anytime Chris like rubs his beard. Take a shot. Take a shot.
That's true. That's true.
My number 4 is part 3. I see what you're saying, Chris, about it being a fun movie, but when you're watching them all together, it's the one that stands out like, what the fuck? Really?
Absolutely.
Jay and Silent Bob cameo?
I 100% agree with you.
I mean, they literally put a fucking Jay and Silent Bob cameo in Scream 3, which made it seem just so goofy. Parker Posey's performance is so ridiculous, but I love it, but it doesn't fit the Scream world. It's too silly. I mean, as a separate film,
the Scream movies don't fit the Scream world.
I want them to. That's the thing. I just thought I mean, a brother, really? The brother? The long line? Are you trying to tell me you never knew your fucking mom was an actress who's been in multiple films? Never once was she recognized on the street? Right. I don't care how shitty of a movie you've been in. There's a fan for it somewhere. That whole fucking idea.
She disappears for 2 years and no one knows where she went. And you're like,
and
what?
She went and became an actress. And come on. Yeah. Somebody would have recognized it. It's just dumb. And it pissed me off that they killed Cotton Weary because I thought he was a great character that they should have done something with.
I agree with that.
Missed opportunity. Trying to revive Randy again via videotape. If you've seen this, I'm dead. You know, what? Really? I just felt, I don't know, 3 really bummed me out. That's probably why I liked 4 so much, because I watched them in a row to prepare for this, just to kind of, you know, I knew part 1 super well. I didn't really have to rewatch that, but the other ones I needed to go back. And when I got to 4, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like, oh, they're reeling it in. I do think there's some great ideas. Like you said, Spencer, the whole idea of the sets that look just like the houses is really cool. But, you know, man, I don't know. You think by now Sydney would have wised up and would be packing 24/7. You know.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that.
It should also be said that this part 3, you know, talking about how it feels the most sort of out of place. It was the only one that I believe Kevin Williamson didn't write. Like, he developed the story, but Aaron Kruger, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
Great name, by the way, if you're working with Wes Craven, right? Kruger. But yeah, I think that probably has something to do with it too. You know, it didn't have Williams's voice, which obviously is so tied to the franchise.
Well, the big question is, and I'm going to ask you this, since we can go on about how ridiculous these movies are. I know I can. My question to you is, what are you hoping to see? What are your hopes for Scream 5? You heard about Scream 5, they're making it. They're getting ready to start it. Are you excited about it? Are you... how are you feeling about this?
I'm very excited about it. I never in a million years thought that they would do another one. As you know, I'm a fan of Scream 4, ranked number 2, and I was like, I took it as like a personal loss to me when it didn't perform as well as I was hoping it did at the box office. You know, didn't fail miserably, but from what I understand, it definitely was somewhat of a disappointing return. I remember some Pixar movie came out the same weekend and took away the number 1 spot, just killed me. Some stupid penguin movie or something. I'm really excited because I didn't think it was going to happen. I saw that Ready or Not film on a plane and I thought it was entertaining. Like, you know, I thought it was cool and kind of edgy and just kind of an interesting story. So I think hopefully it's in good hands. It's so great to have all the main cast back, and that's another thing that is so unusual to a horror franchise. Being able to get all of the main characters back for throughout the duration of a franchise. And in the other movies, it's like usually it's just the killer that returns. You think about Friday the 13th. I don't think there's really any returning character other than Jason, really, throughout the franchise, right?
Adrian King briefly in part 2.
Yeah. Right. And that's also another thing. When you think about Scream, I think one of the ways it stands out, and potentially one of the ways it hurts itself, is that it's not the same killer. The mystique of who is the killer this time. I can't really think if that ties into any other franchise.
It doesn't. That's one thing I was saying when we were rewatching all these movies. It's the potential of Scream that I do like, that I don't feel like they live up to, is the whodunit of it all. I would like going on the new Scream 5. I feel like it could be so Hitchcockian, like who did it? Like who is it? Who done it? I don't think they've lived up to their potential in exploring that type of film, because there are, there's the whodunits, there's the why did they do it? There's different types of these thriller movies and what the basis of the plot is, and I feel like the whodunit is their biggest asset that they have, that
right.
Scream has. And I hope that they do it justice this time. I hope that they really make it an intriguing mystery of who done it, and go, like, I hope they go Hitchcockian with it, and you're just going, I don't know who it is and what's going on, and make it really scary and a mystery, like an honest to goodness murder mystery.
To me, what would be super exciting if they somehow tied it back into the original film, that goes back and it changes what you thought had happened. I don't know how you do that, but yeah, it's always been sort of the Ghostface persona is like a vehicle for someone else's, new killings. But if they could somehow tie it back, I know there's been like rumors online that maybe Stu isn't dead. I don't know how that would possibly be. It sounds completely ridiculous, but if they could
like to see him be the killer, though. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, come on.
It'd be awesome.
Don, what would you like to see with Scream 5?
It's tough, man, because I'm tired of seeing Nev getting chased around. I mean, I love her. I don't want to see her die, though, either. It's kind of like, I almost kind of hope, and just so you know, I don't know anything. I have not been told anything by anybody. Just because I know people involved, I don't know anything. But I would love to see her somehow be the killer. Like maybe all this trauma has pushed her over the edge, and
Well, think about it this way. On that note, and that's a very good point that you bring up, Sean. Here's the thing: if she doesn't die, kills another guy. Let's say she kills whatever Ghostface it is this time. Well, then you're like, okay, she did it again. So then there'll be another one. And who else is Ghostface? And then part 7 will come out, and who's Ghostface there? Like, at what point do you go, like, what do you do with this? Like, she's got to die.
Or
she's got to.
I got another idea.
Or she is the killer. Like, that's what I do. I go, she's got to be the killer.
I got another idea.
Oh boy.
Pull the mask off and reveal it's actually Ghostface Killer, the rapper. Boom.
That's bad.
At this point, I'm just going for shock value.
Tie in a whole hip hop vibe to the soundtrack.
Question for you, Spencer, because I know Chris has no opinion. I don't even need to ask him. I know the answer is no. What were your thoughts on the series, the TV series?
Like, as I said, I'm a desperate horror, desperate Scream fan. So I did give the first season a try of the one that came out, I want to say, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. And you can't do Scream without Roger Jackson. And that one did not have his voice. I actually ended up liking the mask more than I thought I would. There was a change to the mask. And I thought that, to me, that move made some of the shortcomings a little more acceptable, because it wasn't being tied to that iconography of the original Ghostface mask, which to me is like holy grail kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was okay, and I did watch it first season. I kind of fell off with the second season, but the new one that came out on MTV, like I want to say a year or so ago, I didn't even get through the first episode.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Did it come back? I had no idea that it even came back.
What'd you think, Sean?
I have a client that was in the first 2 seasons, Bex Taylor-Klaus. So I was watching it because she was on the show.
She was in Hellfest, right?
Hellfest, yes.
Yeah, I interviewed her at Six Flags when they did like a Hellfest thing. She seemed very sweet.
She's super cool.
And I thought she was funny. She was funny on the show.
She's great, and she's a great person. I love her to death. So I was watching it because she was on it. First season was okay. Second season was okay. But then they did an hour like special. It aired on Halloween, and it was where they were on this island, and they finally had hit their stride. I mean, that one special is awesome. I really loved it. And I was like, man, this is finally got good. And then they canceled it and rebooted it with an all like mostly African-American cast. And it was terrible. And the funny thing is, Spencer, I couldn't get through the first episode either. It was so bad. I have a client who was on that show too. And it was so bad I couldn't watch it. It was unbelievably bad.
And you sit through a lot of bad shit.
I do. I try.
You do.
I tried.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm the opposite. That's where Sean and I are complete polar opposites. I won't sit through it.
And they even brought back the classic mask, and it didn't make a difference. You know,
made it worse.
It made it worse.
If you don't got me 10 minutes into the movie, I'm out. Or into the show, I'm out. I know if it's. I know enough about filmmaking and script writing that if it's not going to get any better after 10 minutes. It's just not. So I check out. I'm done.
But I admittedly like a lot of poorly made films. Some of those 80s slashers, like that's part of the charm. But
there's a difference between a poorly made film and just
god awful
shit, you know. Like I like a lot of poorly made films. I don't have a problem if you make a poorly made film. I'm all for it. Do it, man. But there's a lot of heart in a lot of poorly made films.
That's right.
But a lot of times, not a lot of heart. And I also don't sign up to the fact, because I'm a horror fan, and I take pride in this. I love horror, and I love all this. I love all film and cinema. But when it comes to horror, I don't sign up to the notion of, because it's horror, you have to watch it and like it. I don't sign up for that. I don't do it. It's not a whole thing like people, you got to support horror. No matter what, you got to support it. I disagree. Because the more you support shitty movies, is the more people will make shitty movies. Like, what are you doing? Like, everything is not great. Everything is not good. And horror fans are notorious for having shitty taste. that was my get off my lawn moment. Thank you very much, everybody.
Get off his horror lawn.
Get off my horror lawn.
Yeah, you know, there's some horror movies that are just so bad they're great. You know, I mean. Obviously. Troll 2, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. I mean,
Garbage Day.
Yeah, the Garbage Day scene is it's worth the price of admission alone.
That scene has one of the craziest stunts. And I feel like because it was so low budget that it must have been an accident that they just happened to catch on film. But if you watch him step out of the way of the car that goes on its side, it appears from the angle that he misses the car by like 4 inches or something. Yeah. So I don't know how they did that, but Chris was probably no better.
Well, that's the thing with those low budget films, man. They took crazy risks, shit that they could not get away with these days.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, every time I watch Terror Train, I see that scene where Jamie Lee Curtis is getting choked by the killer in the final scene, and she's falling to the floor and she hits her head on the doorknob like hard. She was a trooper. She stayed in character, and you know, and she whacks her. It's a metal doorknob, and her whole body weight goes down on it. And I mean,
well, look at a movie like Scanners, where the iconic head explosion at the beginning of the film was a shotgun. They shot a fake head with a fucking double barrel shotgun on set.
Same thing with
Could you
Dawn of the Dead.
imagine
That black dude.
Dawn of the Dead?
Same thing.
And also, I think Maniac, they did it too. I was like,
dude, Tom Savini did it. Jumped on the hood of a car, shot through a window.
Could you imagine? Like, I'm on sets every day. That's my job. You can't even get 10 miles within a set with a real gun. Like, it's like, and they're sitting there putting double barrel shotguns behind it. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
The cocaine days. Yeah. You know what I mean? They were. They were like,
the movies aren't as good as they used to be.
Yeah, that's absolutely 100% true, man. I wish I missed that. I missed that.
Yeah. I was checking out your IMDb, and I see you're in a film. I don't know. It's probably just a little cameo or something. The Dark Offerings. What's that all about?
Dark Offerings was a movie I just got asked to do a little cameo in. It's like a Zoom setting film. I don't know too much about it because I never saw a whole script, but it takes place during quarantine. It's filmed all through quarantine. And I don't know much about it, but it seemed like a cool name and a cool kind of 80s throwback poster art.
And your character is named Hal Delrich, which I thought was hilarious. Were you aware of that name? Did they just put that on IMDb, Hal Delrich?
I didn't even know that was my name.
Do you know where that name comes from?
Say it again?
Hal Delrich. It
sounds like one of the bad guys in Die Hard.
No, he's one. That was the name of the guy who played Scotty in Evil Dead.
Oh, okay.
Which there's a story behind that name. Hal Delrich, his real name is Richard D. Manicore. And the name Hal Delrich was a fake name he came up with. He took his name of being Rich, that he's the Rich of Hal Delrich, and his two roommates in college, which were Hal and Del. Del being Del Howison, the owner of Dark Delicacies.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of horror connections there.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's an interesting, a lot of horror fans have no idea that Del from Dark Del, his name was part of that guy's name from the original Evil Dead, as they were college roommates.
Oh. Well, now I know this, so I don't feel like a putz when someone interviews me about a movie if it comes out. Like, of course I know.
Yeah.
I'll give you the credit that you told me. That's awesome.
What's going on with the band right now?
Doing a lot of exciting stuff. We just launched our own app that you can download for free on iOS or Android, or at our website, psychosonly.club. We're starting this fan club where there's a bunch of exclusive content that you can get right on your phone, like behind the scenes stuff. We released right here this DVD slash re-release of our album, The Silver Scream, and it comes with pretty cool bonus features like director and my commentary during it, and a little featurette about my visit to the Scream house. And we set it up. There's there's a DVD and a CD in here, but it comes in like a VHS looking box, which is really cool.
So that's cool.
I'll send you guys a couple so that you can check it out.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, just working on new music. That's like one of the only good things about the pandemic. We've been able to have time to work on new songs rather than just kind of fitting it in between tours. Actually, we were over in Europe when the whole pandemic thing happened. We were out with Papa Roach, and it was a great tour, but it got cut short by about a week. We played one show in Germany, and then we basically got off stage, and our tour manager said, we're booking you home. So we rushed to the airport in Germany and kind of were nervous. You know, we didn't have masks. This was like really in the beginning stages before everyone was really freaking out. And we ended up getting back in the country, no problem. And we kind of beat that crazy rush that you saw on the news with those, thousands of people lined up in security. So I think we beat it by about 24 hours.
And what did that feel like? I mean, being over there in a foreign country and suddenly hearing that this pandemic has hit and you need to get home now before you can't get back.
Dude, it was a bit scary because we'd hear about places that were shutting down, like we would be in Barcelona or something, and then the next 3 days later they're shut down. So we thought the COVID seemed like it was like almost following us. There were some sketchy border passings, border crossings that we had to do like in the middle of the night, where you'd have to get off the tour bus and go into this, little center. But everyone in the center, like all the officials, were wearing like hazmat suits. So you're like, oh my God, like what's going on? Are we going to get hostiled or something? But we ended up not dying, so that was great. I was talking to my family the whole time, and my dad would say stuff like, there's no way this tour is going to keep going. There's no way your spring tour is going to happen. Like, what are you talking about? You guys are overreacting. And needless to say, I was wrong.
It was a scary time. I was out of town. I mean, I wasn't out of the country, but I was out of town at the time when the lockdown hit. I was in Atlanta doing a television series, and it was, I think, March. Well, I'll never forget it. It was March 16th was my last day. I got off set. I walked into the lobby of my hotel room. There was a television in the lobby, and it said, "That's it, lockdown." And I had my flight booked the next morning to go back to LA. And I'm like, am I going to be able to get on the flight? Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to be stuck in Atlanta? Do I have to rent a fucking car and drive across the country to get home? Like, that's
a horror movie in and of itself.
Oh my God, tell me about it. It was like, I was just like, oh my God, it's so weird, so strange.
Oddly enough, I was in Vegas. That was the weekend of March 6th and 7th. I was, oddly enough, with Matthew Lillard. We were at a supernatural convention in Vegas when it was starting to get crazy and people are starting to panic. And me and Matt are like, dude, we're in fucking Vegas in a casino at a convention.
Which is like virus heaven.
Yeah. So we were both stressed. Kind of just got to make it through this weekend, man.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was scary. We were freaking out the whole weekend. Like, they started, like, I mean, all the actors were like a no touch rule,
Right.
I mean, nobody, they had to stand, and like no selfies. It got weird, man. Nobody, masks hadn't started yet.
No, masks weren't a thing.
It was all sanitizer everywhere,
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. And now you see movies, or you're watching TV, and you're watching scenes of people in crowds or at bars or restaurants, and no one's wearing masks, and it looks so strange.
I know. I'm right there with you. I'm like, why you can't watch anything now without going, oh, put a mask on. What are you doing? I had a music question for you, Spencer. Sean and I are both huge music guys. One thing that I always put on while I'm in my shop here, working and sculpting and doing stuff, and I put it on rotation. There's a Rush documentary called Beyond the Lighted Stage, which I love. Even if you don't like Rush, everyone should see this documentary because it's amazing. Even if you don't like them, you'll love it. Anyway, point being is that there's a point in the documentary where they talk about back in the day where bands would write music, record it, put out an album, go on tour, while on tour, write the next album. After tour, come back, record that album, go right back out on tour and stuff like that. Is that kind of still the way things work with bands these days?
I think, for so many years, because we've been a band for so long, we toured, I want to say almost 10 years in a 15-passenger van, sleeping on floors of our friends or people we'd hook up with at the show, often sleeping in the van, like in a Walmart parking lot, on the bench seat. So at that time in our career, it was very difficult to demo on the road because you just didn't have a great setup. I think once in a while, out of necessity, we'd bring a rig or setup into a dressing room and work on an idea, but it was very sort of few and far between as far as that. But over the last couple years, we've been lucky enough to progress to a level where we tour in a far more comfortable manner with a bus and a back lounge and a lot more space. So we really have started to crank out ideas, but it's very rare that we would actually be recording something on the bus that would end up like that vocal track end up on a real album. It's definitely happened before. When we were on the last Warped Tour, we were kind of on a deadline to get the masters in for the next album. So I ended up actually tracking some of the vocals on the bus, in a parking lot of an amphitheater or something like that. But in a perfect world, we like to kind of take our time and usually write at home, if that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Who are some of your musical influences, would you say? Who do you look up to? Who were your idols?
Going back to when I was a little kid, around the same time I was discovering horror, I was discovering MTV. But Nirvana was the band that sort of made me be like, oh my God, like I want to be Kurt Cobain. Like I want a long blonde hair, and I want to look greasy and play a Fender guitar. So that was kind of the band that kicked it off for me. And then from there, I just kind of became obsessed with, the 90s alternative Seattle scene, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, all those bands. And then really got into punk bands like the Epitaph record scene and NoFX and Goldfinger, Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake. And then kind of progressed into getting into heavier stuff like metalcore bands like As I Lay Dying. But in the background during that whole sort of musical journey, I loved theater. I loved Les Miserables and Phantom of the Opera. And I still listen to those things today. And I love different composers like Danny Elfman and Marco Beltrami, like we spoke about earlier. So I think our music is sort of just this big melting pot of all of those influences.
What do you think of some of the modern day theatrical bands like Ghost, or even Kiss is still around, or Rob Zombie,
Yeah, definitely loved Rob Zombie growing up. He's from Massachusetts like I am, so there was always sort of a, oh man, he did that, maybe I could do that too. Always respected the way that he was very hands-on with his band in terms of directing a lot of the videos and doing a lot of the art. I remember seeing them, man, I feel like it was on a tour they did with Korn in like 99 or something like that. And the theatrics were incredible. And animatronics and fire. And
I think that was the Return of the Dread tour.
That might have been it. I think so.
Yeah.
But, I was into all that stuff. Like in the late 90s, I went to the first Family Values tour, Rammstein, the first time I ever heard of Rammstein.
That's a great theatrical band.
Oh yeah. Come out on fire, and I was just kind of blown away. I'm always a fan of bands that have that sort of additional thing that you can really kind of be blown away by a show. They really put on a performance.
Yeah. I mean, your music has to be pretty compelling to get me without a show, to be honest with you. But also too, I grew up at a time, and Sean could attest to this, like in the 70s when the show was part of the music. Like it was David Bowie, and it was Kiss, and it was T-Rex, and it was like Alice Cooper, and you had but you take the music, and the music sounded great, and you're not taking anything away. It's not all show, and it's not just music, it's both put together, and there's this beautiful theatrical amazing thing. Van Halen, I give Van Halen a lot. Van Halen doesn't get a lot of credit when it comes to a show that comes to the music, and you go, and I paid my ticket, I paid my this money, and I'm gonna go, and I want to see, give me my money's worth, man, and I miss that, and I think it's terribly lacking. I think people try. That's why I used to go see Iron Maiden at the Long Beach Arena. And it was Iron Maiden. You knew, even at a bad show, you knew it was going to be a great show. You know what I mean? You're like, holy fuck, it's Iron Maiden. And I miss that.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, hands down, the best show I've ever seen, Roger Waters. His shows.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I mean, his last tour.
And he does nothing but stand there. But his shows are amazing.
His shows are insane. I mean, obviously Pink Floyd, what they did with The Wall and all that. I mean, fucking amazing. But I think one of the greatest shows I ever saw, and it was at the height of his career, I think, and his creativity. I saw Marilyn Manson on the Mechanical Animals tour, and fuck, man. I mean, it was like everything that he had built crossed over with his hardcore Bowie influence. That was just, man, what a show. That was such a great show. I've seen him multiple times since, and it's just, I mean, he's always entertaining, but never going to touch that. He's never going to touch that.
Yeah, he's a great showman. I think I saw them probably on like in like the Guns, God, and Government tour like era. He definitely knows how to put on a show, you know, at that podium. And I think it like the podium raised all the way up, like, you know, 100 feet in the air. But I think also it comes down to if the band really wants to spend money on that production, because to have those kind of elements is really expensive. And I'm of the mindset where I think it pays off, even if monetarily in the short term, you might be coming home with less money. Like on the last tour that we did, the LA date was at the Belasco Theater. And it was the first time that we were able to really put some money into production. We had a guy touring with us who built light rigs every day, and he had some experience with theater. Like he worked with one of the productions of Les Mis, so he knew about lighting. And we brought a makeup person who also doubled as an actor on stage that would come out and be, you know, Laurie Strode one moment and be, you know, the kid Michael Myers and the other. And I was changing costumes almost every song. But it takes a lot to do those kind of performances. But as you guys said, it's like at the end of the day, it's like you're giving kids a show. And I think that is lacking.
I don't want people to get the wrong idea that all they want to do is go see this $1 million show. I think you can do it for very little money. I think it's still possible. You don't have to have all that shit. I think that if you're clever and you use your dollar wisely, I think audiences are savvy enough to know that when you come on stage, whatever the budget or whatever it is you're doing, they know if you're into it. They know if you're loving it. They know if you are committed. They know that you're there for them. You know, they know no matter how much money that you have on stage.
They can see the authenticity.
They know.
When you're competing in this day and age where kids are so, you know, kind of quick to just stay home or just look at their phone or watch Netflix instead of going to the movies, you have to level up and give them something that transcends like a computer or a phone screen.
Yeah.
But I think there was a period of time sort of after the 80s hair metal boom, like and kind of going over to the early 90s, where then it became cool to not have a gimmick or not have a show like those bands talking about, like the Seattle bands. Yeah. Nirvana, you know, they just want to don't even put up a backdrop. So I think that was kind of lost for that period of time. Yeah. But then the late 90s kind of brought that back with, again, like larger than life bands like Rammstein and Korn and Rob Zombie, and that became cool again. And I think it's having maybe a second wind now.
Yeah.
And now we're just starved for any live performances.
Exactly.
I'll take a guy with up there with tube socks on and a single strobe light, whatever.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Well, we should probably let you go. Where can fans find you online?
Best places to connect with us, you can go to ice9kills.com. Our Instagram, Ice9Kills, and again, psychosonly.club. You can find out more info about our app, and that's about the extent of where to get the latest Ink information.
Well, thanks for joining us and helping us rank these Scream films. You seemed more knowledgeable about them than we were.
Yeah. He's hardcore. He knows his shit about the Scream, man.
It's great talking with you guys. Thanks for having me. And I'm a fan of both your guys' work, so it was a pleasure.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming, and we're honored, so thank you.
Well, thank you, guys. I hope we could do it again sometime.
Indeed. Do it, man.
How old are you, Spencer?
I'm 34.
I'm in my 40s for 4 more days.
That's right, 4 more days.
You guys don't look like you guys are in your 50s. I wouldn't have guessed it.
All right. I understand. Don't.
Well, I mean,
the
gray, but you know, I don't know if it's the resolution, but you don't look like you have many wrinkles. So.
I don't.
The makeup artist. Academy Award winning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all prosthetics, right?
Yeah, it's all prosthetics.
Very dark man.
Under this, I look like a skeleton. Yeah. All right.